All Ends Media, and this is the fellas. What up, fellas?
What's
What's going on, guys?
up?
Here we are.
We are
That's what I
live
was just
on
gonna say.
YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So please like, share, and subscribe to everywhere so we can get our numbers up and look like somebody important.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Right?
Well,
Okay,
we
Scott,
tried.
what was your
Dennis
question?
Cage, have you reached out to him again to see what's going on?
Yeah, I just talked to him earlier today.
When's he
And,
coming?
Oh, you know what? Not Dennis. I'm sorry. I talked to Dan Short.
Oh,
Dennis, I emailed him earlier today, so he didn't get back to me yet. But I know
what did Dan Short have to say?
they don't know if they're going to SEMA yet. They're going to have a meeting next week to see if they're going to SEMA. So I'm trying to get everybody booked up for interviews at SEMA. So but man, a lot of people, they're on the fence.
A lot of people are bailing.
Yeah. Big
I heard
companies.
they were changing something that you had to have a card saying you've been vaccinated, or you have to go for a test and show that you've been negative right away.
Well, no, they sent a video, or they put a video up. I think it was the president, and he was saying that you don't have to. They're just going to have the mask mandates of right now, long as the city don't change anything else.
They got to follow the same guidelines as the casinos.
Right.
Casinos are letting everybody in as long as you're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
I know that being in my industry, the homeless companies like Kicker, and I can't think of who else the top of my head, but pulled out. They're not going.
Wow.
You mean MTX is not going to be there?
I don't know what MTS, but Kicker's not. VOTS Corporation is not going to be there. Alpine is not going to be there. I think Kenwood pulled out. I'm trying to remember who else.
Kicker has a pretty nice party too that they have every year. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Not now.
Too much
Yeah.
bass.
You know, speaking of Kicker, you know what's funny is you watch Street Outlaws, and it's like they're all like Kicker shirts or whatever, Kicker on their cars, but they don't have stereos in those cars. So
No.
is that the funniest thing?
I wondered about that too.
They got
They got-
kicker stuff and in their trailers.
Hauler and their hauler.
And their
Trucks.
haulers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their rigs.
And they're probably their own personal cars too, non-race cars.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, big industry.
Oh, you
Nice
know what?
T-shirt, Ray.
Huh?
Nice T-shirt.
Yeah, it's my Luddy shirt.
Yeah, I see that.
Ooh.
I'm back into well, I'll be for the after show. Got a lot of back into drum stuff again. So
Yeah.
a lot of I'm looking at maybe some Atlas hardware and changing things around. Talking to a guy tonight. I can meet with him Saturday. Maybe buy a bunch of hardware and cymbals. He's got a night. Well, again, it's gonna be for the drum show, but for later. But my nice big heavy ride. We'll see.
I'm
My
thinking
man,
of getting back together with a couple of friends of mine and start jamming again.
Uh-huh.
When I
My
broke
man.
my leg almost 3 years ago, I haven't really played. So just want to, just have a little fun.
Yeah.
I gotta show you fellas what my man Jack sent me from Trulers. Check this out.
Oh yeah.
My backdrop for.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
All right,
Cool.
hold on. My backdrop for when we're doing interviews, baby.
Very good.
That's
Well, you can use
awesome.
it as a beach towel.
Yeah, man.
Take it to the pool.
It's nice.
Jack ain't playing. Yep.
Cool.
So we got a couple slabs going. So if you're out there, 3:00 every day, we're gonna be at his booth, Trulers. We're gonna be making it happen.
I'll come by this time.
Yeah, 3:00 every day. We
I
got
gotta find out where they are.
Joe Connington. I'll post up where the booth will be and everything. We got Joe Connington. We got.
Oh, sure. If I open up the app, I'll find it.
Yeah. I got a whole bunch of people on the list, but they don't know if they're going yet. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Hey, less people walking around, the easier it's going to be to navigate the crowd.
Yeah, but if you ain't nobody there.
Yeah.
Trust me, there'll be plenty of people there.
Well, I guess Chip Foose is going to have a pretty big display. I think they're going to have 25 of his cars all in one spot.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And Ford is doing some major stuff out in the parking lot too. I think they're doing an expedition with the new Bronco. They're going to show you what it really can do, I guess. What they're saying. So,
Cost you $70,000 or more?
I don't know how much they
Easily.
are. Are they up there?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow.
The-
Really?
The big
Nah.
Broncos,
I
full
don't-
size. Yeah,
Full size.
I thought they were all small now.
I didn't see
No.
Wow.
I didn't
They
see
make-
the small one. I
they
mean, I
make
didn't see
two
the big
different
one.
ones.
Really?
They make a big one and a small one. The
What
sport,
was this?
the
yeah.
sport is a small, and then a regular Bronco.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
I
What
haven't
does the
seen it at
small
all.
one go for?
Huh?
What does the small one go for?
I need to
It's
get back on.
it's 50.
Okay.
50 for
That's
that
50.
piece of junk?
That's like buying a
Yeah.
Jeep.
Had him in the shop.
uh,
The chintziest thing you ever seen.
Yeah.
The new Jeep with the that cutout back that goes for about 50. Starts at about 50.
I can't wait. Remember when I told you a couple weeks ago when I saw that Grand Wagoneer at the dealer,
Yeah.
and I started seeing the commercial for 2022,
Uh-huh.
the new Grand Wagoneer. I'll be interested because I don't know. It was pretty big. That was a big truck, and I don't know
Maybe at
what
least
frame.
65 or 70, I bet.
Oh yeah, but I can't. I love to see one. It almost reminded me of my wife's excursion. It was big, and I miss. Well, I tell you, I missed something big.
You speaking of something big, you never filled us in on the you never closed the gap on the head gaskets on the F-350.
It's I got cracked heads. The head's cracked on it, and it is actually where the injector goes through. I'm not having any. I'm not losing any. There's no mix between oil or coolant. But when I get into turbo boost, it blows the radiator cap off.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So it needs a set of heads. And
What's the prognosis? Are they available?
oh yeah, cheap. I just don't want to do it. I mean, you could buy a set of heads for $700.
Are they from China?
Everything's from China. Come on, John. Where have you been? Under a rock or something, dude? Come
But
on.
you kind of have to do it, right? I mean, either that or what are you doing?
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm gonna clean it up, and I'm gonna put a sign on it, and adios, amigos.
Really? Wow.
How many
Yeah.
miles do you have on it?
I just turned 83,000.
So what are you going to replace
God.
it with? That was that's you like that truck?
Yeah, I
Pour
do.
pour that stuff in the radiator that seals cracks.
Nah,
and holes.
that won't do it. It's where the boost from the turbo is coming through. It's being pulled through.
Head gasket in a can.
Yeah, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, Red Devil.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I really don't want to pull it all back apart and do it. And like I said, it's too bad that with the shitty frame bed rail, they're all rotted out. So that's another $2,500 worth of sheet metal for the bed rails, or you can't find a bed for them. They're all rotted.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's low mileage. It's 15 years old and it's halfway decent, but I'm just not going to dump the money in it.
It's the other half that bothers you.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm just not going to dump the money in it.
Right.
And
Well, you know, we talk about that a lot on the radio show about when do you decide to pull a plug and when do you invest. You know, we usually say the cheapest car to buy is the one you already own because
yeah,
you know, put the money into it and then you know what you have, barring any unforeseen, you know, problems. But sometimes
That's my
it's just,
wife's statement.
you know, we've had people come in and say, and you know, women usually would complain and say, well, you know, it's just like, and you kind of get a sense and you say, you know what, are you just kind of tired of that vehicle? And they're like, well, yeah. I'm like, you just want something new, right? Yeah, I think so. So that's it. There's your answer. So,
yeah.
you know, don't go any further. Just get rid of it and buy something new.
So I kind of, well, one day when the tool truck was broken, I drove it in. I was driving it, before all this all started, but I drove it into the Ford dealership, and the guy came out and said, "You ready to sell your truck?" And I said, "Well, I'm kind of driving it at the moment." And he goes, "Well, I can offer you 15 for it." And I was like, "Oh, what are you, crazy?" And he said, "I said the bed's rotted out. This is messed up, because that's all cosmetic."
Wow.
So I wish I would have sold it.
What?
Would have had to walk home, but
How come we haven't hightailed it back there and said, "Hey, remember me"?
Yeah.
yeah.
Drive around the parking lot a couple times.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, you can. I can leave the radiator cap loose, and it won't blow it off. But you smell coolant. I mean, you smell that dollar sign, and you know somebody's going to find out what's wrong with it. So I don't know. Kind of sucks.
What year is it?
It's 07 F350.
So it's a 6-liter.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump on tonight because I'm actually looking at getting a new F350 next year, and the 6.7 I've heard is pretty good. I know you guys, John, you looked at when you bought your truck. I know you bought a gas, but you had a Tundra. I just want something with some more pulling power. It just don't have the power that I want. So I want something. I thought about the Godzilla 7.3, but I've heard guys are having some problems with it. That 6.7 is a pretty good motor, I hear.
Yeah.
So,
I never had any problem with my 6.0 until now. And I mean, my wife had a 6.0, and we had what was that, 192,000 on hers, and never had a lick of problems. I mean, the biggest problem, I guess the biggest rap or the hardest problem that most of those guys got with those 6.0s, they were in all those work vehicles and landscaping trucks, and those guys get in. And John, you know that you hire you hire a guy to drive a truck, and he'll drive it till it runs out of oil. He won't even look at the oil.
Oh yeah.
Or what's this light on? Oh well, and
They just drive the front ends off of John's trucks.
yeah, well, it's all the same thing. Instead of saying something, they just drive them and then they say, "Well, it's not my problem," and So I think that's part of the beef. Like I said, I know when I did mine. I mean, I know when I damaged mine, and it was purely just that I was too lazy. I was too lazy to do something right at that moment, and I damaged it. I mean, I have nobody to really blame except myself, but that's the luck of the Irish that I have. So.
Yep. I must be Irish too, man, because I'm always always jacking something up.
So Lewis, I'm friendly with Will Lockwood from Bitch and Rides on Facebook. I'm gonna hit him up about coming on here.
Okay, sounds good.
See if we can get him on. I know he was on Wednesday night last week on the other show, and it's pretty interesting. The stuff he's done.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I met him.
He's younger than I thought he was.
I don't know how old he. I would guess he's about 48, 50 maybe.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
he's in his 40s.
Yeah, I think he's in his 40s. I was pretty surprised.
I'm trying to get Dave on too, but his schedule, his scheduler is hard to get up with to schedule. You know what I mean?
People.
Yeah, he has his people.
No, just get a hold of Kev Dog and ask him to do it for you.
Yeah. Yes,
Beat around the bush.
Yeah, I sent Kev a couple texts, but they all get back to me and say, "Oh yeah, you got to talk to the guy."
Everybody's got a guy.
Everybody's got a
I
guy.
I need a guy.
I bet that person that won that huge lottery got a guy.
I need a masonry guy.
What was the amount?
Almost 900.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they're getting, after taxes, I think they're getting 600 million.
It was like almost 900 million.
One guy.
That'll
No one
change
can
your
need
life.
that kind of money.
Someone in California.
What'd you say, Scott?
No one can need that kind of money. I mean, you
Oh
don't
yeah,
need Even half of it is way too much.
Oh no. See,
You gotta give it to us.
no.
Yeah,
no.
right.
I only
Listen,
want $5
Spread the
million.
wealth.
I will die trying to spend it. Believe me.
Oh, it'd go real quick. It'd go real quick. Don't
We're
worry.
like, how did he die? He died with money falling out of his pockets.
There's TV shows about people that win the lottery and how they screw it up.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
and a long
Average.
list of people who do that.
On average, it's like 3 years, 3
Yeah.
to 4 years, and you're dead broke.
Even more broke than they were broke before.
Yeah.
You could just take, I don't know, take 500,000 and throw it in a savings account, which pays you like nothing.
Put it in a
interest.
CD. Put it in a
And just,
CD.
and just live off the interest coming out of the savings account.
Yeah.
Just put the rest in the closet somewhere.
You figure if you were making 8% on your money for every million, you'd make 80 grand a month. I mean, 80 grand a year. You do the math. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Actually,
Biden
right
will take that
now,
money away from you.
right now on normal
Yeah.
investments, you'll make about $5,000 a month on $1 million.
So about 60.
It's
Why
a
is
triple
that smart?
investment, so it's small.
Okay.
But
The first million, I'd blow it, man. I'm telling you.
all of it.
First million would just be crazy stuff.
Right.
Like a couple garages and a few cars. And
Yeah.
I already got there's a piece of property. I have customers on the water in this little town called Apollo Beach. And right on the water used to be a hotel. Don't ask me why. There was a hotel on the water, and it's residential houses on either side, going either way along the shoreline. And they closed the hotel, and they couldn't sell it. And a couple of years later, they came in there and they just got bulldozed it.
oh,
So there's this big lot. It's like 320 feet oceanfront,
Wow.
and it's about 600 feet deep. It's a big lot, and it's been up for sale for years in Apollo Beach. And I'm like, if I win the big lottery, I'll buy that. I'll put up a beautiful house, and I'll pay to have the guys from Pink Floyd come and play a party in my backyard.
Van Halen playing a
invited?
birthday party.
actually, I'd take that money and go to Barrett Jackson.
Together.
Think of the cars you can come home with there.
Yeah,
You're talking about
I
paying
don't know.
overpriced though.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
then
I'm
you're
not-
taking a chance
Yeah,
on
with all
an
that
auction
money you'd
block,
win.
too.
Yeah. I'm not interested in starting an auction collection, you know?
Yeah, no, me neither.
Got to build a giant garage though.
I don't know. You gotta get Diamond Dave to play before he kicks the bucket.
Right.
He just retired.
He just retired, right?
Yeah, but he's in real bad. I mean, have you seen him? He's in pretty
Oh,
bad.
he's a has-been. I'm
They're-
sorry.
Come on now, we're talking about Diamond Dave.
He's
He
a
lost-
has-been now.
Lost his voice years ago.
Yeah, he's
Oh.
awful.
You guys are going.
But look at Sammy Hagar.
You're going to beat up on the poor guy.
He's going to
Yeah.
come back with
Losers.
a comeback tour with Brian as
Just
his
have
bass
Sammy
player.
Hagar sing for you.
Sam,
Ted
Yeah.
Nugent. That's who
Yeah.
you gotta get. Ted
Yeah.
Nugent.
There's
yeah,
only,
I like Ted.
Yeah, Uncle Ted is great.
I don't even think he sings half his
That
songs.
was fuck Joe Biden the whole night.
I love when he goes live on Facebook. I always watch it.
Yep.
He's a riot.
But he's out of his,
If I'm
he's
in
out of
the,
his
if
mind.
I'm in the truck and he goes live and I get that little notification on the phone, it just pumps through the radio, and I just listen to what he's got to say. And his wife Shemaine, they're fantastic people.
Yeah. Oh well.
So, Ray, what are you working on at the shop?
It's actually quiet over there. I was over there mounting tires for my own car yesterday. They got the main shop is the collision shop, and the secondary shop, they have stuff overflowed. There's just collision cars everywhere. They can't keep up with them. And they're trying to get guys to work. Guys don't want to work. So right now, the early stuff is at a little bit of a lull, which is okay. That's all right. I don't mind taking a little bit of because I'm doing stuff at home, doing some of my own stuff.
right.
So, yeah, it's a little quiet.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a little quiet everywhere down here.
I saw on the news that they're sending a whole boatload of rain up to you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's
weekend was
starting
supposed to get some. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna send it over to New York and Connecticut.
It's going there. I saw the map tonight, man. It's going to hit hard.
Why don't you send it a little farther to California?
Yeah.
I like you, but I don't like your state. You all could just fall off in the Pacific. Seriously.
We don't want to
What's
lose
everyone-
Pepper Squirrel.
No.
What's that?
And I'm just saying, I like you, but and I got a couple of friends there. I would throw them the lifeline. The Nancy Pelosi and all her friends in that whole state, they could just drop dead. It's crazy.
What's everyone seeing for gas prices?
$3.
I just paid $2.89 today.
Yeah,
Really?
I paid $2.92. It's coming down.
$4.
Just went up here.
Wow, $4.
314,
$4.
315.
Brian, where are you buying gas, man?
Huh?
Is it diesel? Is it diesel?
Well, my diesel, the cheapest I found diesel is $3.89.
Yeah, we're at 308.
Really fucking
Yeah.
sucks.
On premium, we're at about 325, 330. I got rid of my Honda. Actually, I came down your way, John. I was down in Fort. Where was it? A place called something
Fort
Acura.
Pierce, Fort Myers.
Fort Pierce. I was in Fort Pierce. And so I drove down, and I don't know, a couple months ago, and I brought an Acura, and I was like, oh, great. I got to run freaking premium in it. But it's a nice car. Good daily. I mean, it's just fun to drive. So,
Sure.
man, you can have that heat. Holy shit. I came out the next morning.
Oh, come on.
Here's the family show here.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. No, so I'm coming down there and I hear something. I don't know. I thought I heard something. I got in late to the hotel. Came out the next morning. The car's sweating and there's a freaking 3-foot crack across the windshield. Oh my
Oh,
God.
God.
I was trading it in, so of course I had to make a claim that morning at the dealership. I was heading back the same day. So, man, I came out there, man. Everything was just soaked from sweat, dude. It was
Wow.
so
That's weird.
hot. Well, I think something popped up and got it, and the heat just killed it.
Yeah.
But what's cool is I came back to Virginia, and the car's a Florida car, and it's got the Florida window tint on it. Oh, I love it. And it's jet black. And they won't pull you. They can't pull you as a primary. So I drive like a little old lady, but the car looks great. You can't see anything. It's,
I'm glad you mentioned window tint because I'm looking for a set of tinted high beam headlights.
Oh.
And
Wow.
I've seen them. And a couple of years ago, I had a link. There was a place that was selling them, and then one guy was selling it was like a contact lens that you could put over it instead of tinted them. But or I'll spray them if I can find the right spray. So
What do you want to tint them, like yellow?
yeah, I want my high beams yellow on my car. Yeah,
well, just
on
put
the
it-
on a Pontiac.
oh, fine.
dude, check out this place. Is it a dual beam setup?
Yes, 4 lights.
So check. I have them on my Tundra, and also on my. There's a company called Laminex.
Okay.
They basically it's like a film that goes over. So
Right.
you could try it and see if you like it. You could just do you could buy obviously the yellow glass, but this is like
Oh
it's
yeah,
like an overlay.
yeah. So I'm looking to to coat the glass. I hardly ever use the high beams. So
Well, it's like a film and it stretches over, and you would probably have to freehand that. They like pre-cut it for most cars today.
Right.
Like the modern cars.
right.
But I think
That might
Brian's
be
got-
hard though, because the round headlights they're like
Here's a heat gun.
they're a dome.
Yeah.
Yep. Heat gun.
So it's not like
Yeah,
you
they
can just cut a circle and lay it over.
Yeah, it might be hard to keep the bubbles out, but
Well, I mean, with this, just check it out. Lemon.
Some of it's stretchy too. So
Yeah, and it comes with little tabs, and you basically just wrap it over. But like I said, you'll probably have to freehand that because this is for your Pontiac, right?
Yeah.
Just put the yellow bulbs in.
Yeah, they
right.
do that too.
well, see that's
It's
the
a
thing. Right
different look,
now,
though.
I'm using a sealed beam, a
Oh,
4001
it's
sealed
the
beam.
old school. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I
Old
want the lens to be yellow because I had a bulb like that in my bike. I had the replaceable H4 and I had a yellow bulb, but you only saw yellow when you lit it up.
Look up
I've seen
that,
those yellow in cars, old cars, like gases and stuff.
That's the idea.
Yeah,
I don't know where they've gotten those
I'm
from.
thinking about tinting the windows too.
The VHT makes the paint. VHT
Try
makes the paint.
Speedway.
I haven't found anybody that carries it right now. But yeah, VHT and also Rust-Oleum has an amber tint that I'm trying to find. So I mean, I'll go with whatever I can find. I'll just experiment with it.
I mean, to give you an idea for the Tundra for the fog lights, I mean, the Laminix covers were like $15.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
that's
worst
probably
case,
what I saw a few years ago.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool. I mean, you know, it's a pretty cool technology. A
Right.
lot. I mean, it's not perfect yellow. Probably not like what Brian's saying with the bulbs, but I mean, it gives you probably the thing you're looking for. You want more of the aesthetic versus
Right.
yeah.
I'm not worried about the light. I'm not worried
Right.
about No, I'm looking at it's the aesthetic is all it is.
Yeah, it looks cool. That would look cool.
Yeah. And I'm having the hardest time finding a freaking spread bore carburetor I can use an electric choke on.
I
can't
know.
believe it.
I dug through all my stuff, Ray, and I have two of those
6210s.
6210s.
Yeah, me too.
Hey Ray,
Ha.
I just went on eBay Motors. I put in pots, yellow seal beam headlights. You got the round ones or the square ones? The round ones,
Round.
right?
Yeah.
Someone's got 2 Philips standard seal beam amber light bulbs.
Tell me that they're probably
Seal beam
7-inch, right?
Actually, which ones are these?
They got to be the smaller ones.
5 and a
What's a
quarter.
4412?
That's a part number for a headlight.
Is that a small or a
Where's Joe
big?
when you need him?
It's not
Oh,
my
these
number.
are 5 3/4.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
the
mine
right
are 5
size.
3/4. That's a small light. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Come on,
Got
come
my-
on, spit it
Scott, you
out.
got my email address?
I don't.
mmr@ncc.com .edu.
Hold on a
Send me the
second.
link.
Hold on. What is it?
mmr
How
Yeah.
much? How much
At
are those lights? Brian?
ncc.edu.
Sorry.
Now everybody that's listening is gonna go on there and they're gonna find.
That's good because I just realized like we used to get a lot of email, and it really kind of like
Dropped
quieted
off.
down. I'm like, I
Gonna
check
get
the account all the time. Like, wow, we used to get a lot of email in this account.
You're
Now
gonna
I
get
don't.
spam now.
What's a 4415? Is that the right size?
I believe it's a 4001.
Yeah, well, one of them is going to be 2-prong or 3-prong because
Right.
you would either have all four would go on low, and then you have 2 that are high, right?
The low beams are 5001. That's a 3-prong, and the high beams are 4001, which is a 2-prong. Correct.
Yeah.
Because you get high beam, you get low beams first, and then when you hit the switch, that funny little thing on the floor that no one knows what it is. When you hit that, you get all 4.
I had a friend used to race on Deer Park Avenue, and converted that switch to his manual nitrous switch.
Nitrous. That's what I did. That's the way mine was.
I'll tell you that's a good idea, and I knew a guy back in the day who converted it to his kill switch. So just used it as a kill switch.
Yeah, that was my nitrous.
He had hidden nitrous. It
Right.
was in the door panel, a little baby bottle.
Really?
Ran through that that rubber umbilical cover that covers the wires for your power windows.
Right.
Got it into the kick panels.
Yeah.
From the kick panel, he weaved its way through the cowl. From the cowl, it went down behind a false panel inside the car into the transmission case. So far back, nobody could see it.
Right.
And then they brought it around and got it around the converter into the block and had it plumbed under the manifold. Wow. Totally hidden system.
Hey Justin, can you got an extra tab open? Can you close your tab so your volume?
Yeah, I'm sorry. There you go.
I drink Fresca, not Tab.
Hey, Ray, I just sent you the wrong one.
Well,
Didn't they just recently take Tab off the market?
yeah. It was had aspartame in it, I think.
I
I didn't get it, Scott.
Echoing.
Yeah, Justin, you got 2 tabs open or something. Are you watching us on 2 different things?
But up bump.
Yeah,
I was not watching anything.
Watched him in 4x3
Can you hear us?
on his cell phone.
Oh, oh.
We lost him.
Then he went away.
Look, I'm back.
So, fellas, I bought me a drone this week,
Nice.
Ooh.
and I
Let me see
wrecked
what
it many times.
Really?
They're hard to fly, man.
No, they're not. Come on.
Listen, it went up and it came straight towards me.
Wow.
Straight towards my forehead.
Put it on autopilot.
Supposed to
You
stay
had
in
to put it to home.
Yeah, I bought one of them cheap ones so I can learn how to use it first. And then I'll
Well,
go
now you
back.
know what not to do.
Yeah,
A couple
no,
of years
aim
ago,
it.
Barb bought me one of those lower priced ones. The thing would never fly right,
Yeah,
and I felt bad. And I told her, I said it's not balanced. I said there's a it was a 4 propeller deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I said there's a difference in speed with one of these propellers. I said, and there's no way to fine tune it. There's no potentiometer that I can fine tune speed, the whole deal. And she was like, then just throw it out. that's where it went.
Oh, well.
Wow.
yeah.
Ray,
It would
I found
it
something.
would take off and it would go this way, and then it would always go to the ground. No matter, you could have the joystick all the way to the left, this thing would go whack. It
Oh,
just
yeah.
never worked.
My friend Pirate Paul, I think through software, he's able to change the speeds of his motors.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
there's a
you can do it that
program.
way. Usually on the remote, there's a way of trimming it so that if one's out of balance, you can bring it back in.
I
Yes,
read all
what's
the
it called?
instructions, went on the website, couldn't get it to work.
Wow.
Hmm.
More
I was
China
into
junk.
that. It was China junk.
Actually, they're all made in China.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, very surprisingly, I didn't realize until just the other day, the company that makes really good stuff, DJI, that's
Yep,
China.
that's who makes the drones.
Yeah. I have one of their it's a thing that holds
Gimbal.
your iPhone. It's like a steady cam. Yeah.
Gimbal.
That thing
Yep.
is phenomenal.
Yeah, I got one too.
So,
I mean,
you
you
know.
can run down the street with it and it won't move.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
just goes to show that, some good stuff does come out of there.
Yep.
I have zero complaints on that thing. It's built real well. It's it's all made out of aluminum.
Now they have another one that you
It
hook
hooks
your
up
phone to
quickly.
it, but it has its own screen. Have you seen that
Oh
one?
yeah. No, I haven't
It's
seen
real
that one.
nice.
Yeah.
It only thing it's using on your phone is your camera, but then it goes
Right.
onto their screen. It's really nice.
Oh, wow.
That's
But
cool.
it's like
Hey, Scott,
$800 though.
that's a motorcycle headlight. Will that
It's a
work?
7-inch though.
Okay.
Too big.
Too
I
big.
thought you said yours was 7.
5
No.
3/4.
5.
Oh, that was the one I originally had.
4 headlight. And you're supposed to email that to me, not put it in a.
I know, but it didn't. It threw back at me. You said mmr@mcc.edu.
No. NCC.
N. Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he needs this size.
Yeah.
There you
Not-
go.
Those are the size of the driving lights on Brian's Mustang.
And then,
Hey Brian, are you trying to be like Ray?
That's a 7-inch.
huh?
Are you trying to be like Ray?
I can give Ray a pretty good run.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
another thing.
you sure can. And you know what the funny thing is? It's different stuff. So it's like if we ever put our crap together, man, it would be like,
you can have a whole car.
Right, get a
scary.
car built.
yeah, it'd be like Johnny Cash.
I mean, if you want, I even got it for your Buick.
Oh my god.
Nice.
For that Grand National, right? 4
Oh, yeah,
headlights.
Right. Thank God that car left the shop.
Yeah.
Somebody
I thought I had them in there, but I have a set of sealed beam 6014s. Those are the 7-inch round ones,
Oh wow.
and they are factory seal beams from CB from
Yeah.
France,
Nice.
Wow.
and those are like from the early 70s. I used to run those. Those were yellow.
Yeah.
They were tinted yellow. I mean, the glass is yellow.
That's nice.
That's the real deal. I mean, the glass is yellow.
That would look evil on this thing.
Yeah, I had them. That's what I used to have in my Mustang. That's what I used to run around.
Yellow eyes. That'd be cool.
Check out that
Big
link I
Echo.
just threw in chat. That's the Laminex site. You can go under Universal, and they make round by various sizes. So guys will put them on like big fog lights, and that should probably
No
work
echo
exactly
now.
what you sideways.
Justin, I got you on mute because you got echo going on.
Oh, that's why the echo went away.
There you go.
And
bad.
Yeah.
looks like it's John now.
No,
That's
no,
not me, I'm
it's
good.
Justin. I cut him back on and cut him back off.
Oh.
Sorry, Justin. Justin, are you on a computer or are you on your phone?
Phone.
Phone.
He's frozen.
Reading lips.
No, he's still
No.
moving.
No, he said phone.
All right, on your phone, do you have 2 tabs open, like nothing in the background?
It's on speakerphone.
Are you on speakerphone?
Might be.
Turn the volume down a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or put some headphones in.
Yeah.
Ray, did you get that email?
No. Let's see. Doink. Doink. Nope, not yet.
Well, I ordered Home Depot wood to come build under my garage, so that's gonna be my project this weekend.
What are
Wood's
you
finally
building?
coming back to normal.
What are you building, Lewis?
I'm gonna add 10 by 20 on the front of the garage.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Wow.
A 10 by 20 on the front?
Yeah, a little duct tape, you know.
Spit
Yeah,
and
we're
roll.
I'm getting ready to build a 6 by 12 build, not 6 by 12, but a 12 by 16 building. And I tore my other one down, and I started looking at prices for 6 by 6 for a base because we're gonna lay it on a, and grade it out.
Mhm.
That's gonna be expensive. But
It's
has
crazy.
dropped. It's gotten a lot better. So,
Yeah, the prices did come down a little bit, but man, it's still a little crazy. But I want to do it before it gets cold.
Well, you only got a couple of weeks. It gets cold by you fast.
Yeah. It could be here in Ohio, man. Our weather's so jacked up. It could be 50 degrees and then 80 later on in the day.
That's the way it's been around here.
it's been nice lately, Brian. Don't jinx us.
Ray, keep shooting back to me. I put it in the chat again.
Sure you got the right. Well, let's see. Make sure you got all the right letters. MMR at NCC, and you probably have .com, right?
No, .edu. You said.
Oh, good. Well, that's right. That is correct.
Yeah, it shot back at me.
I don't know why.
No, look in the private chat. Copy that last one I put in there.
You using Gmail?
AOL.
Wow.
Hey,
Well,
American Online.
Actually, I get restricted sometimes from setting to AOL. It won't,
I
it
didn't
w't
know that
send
they
to
were still
AOL.
around. I thought
yeah,
that
they're
company
still
was gone.
No, it is.
Oh, John, I got that one beat. I'm still Hotmail.
Hot
No.
man.
Hotmail account.
AOL
I use it all
is
the time.
It's
older
still
than
around.
I use it every day.
Yeah.
I actually still have my AOL address. I just don't use it.
I forget what mine is. I'm
I
gonna
go
have
in
to
there
look
once
it
in a
up.
while, and there's 450 spam messages.
The best thing, if I'm gonna age myself, but you guys remember the best thing that ever happened in college when you get those 500 free minutes on AOL. Man, they made great coasters. Put them right on your coffee table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the CDs you put in there, you get 5
Yeah.
free minutes. The dial-up.
Comcast was it another one?
How
I
many people
was
remember
I was-
CompuServe?
just a couple of weeks ago. I was renewing my gun license through the county, and I swear to God, their site's got to be on a dial-up because you would fill out the fields and hit next, and nothing would happen. And I thought, okay, maybe it's just a bad connection on one end, so I left it. I came back later, same thing. I finally said, "To hell with this." I did it at work the next day, and the same thing was happening. It ends up, no, I had to wait. After I hit the button, you just had to wait like 30 to 45 seconds, and then the page would change. I was like, and I know it's on their end. I was like, they gotta be on like an old,
Great
not even a DSL,
server.
probably an old dial-up modem somewhere.
Yeah.
I remember the days where you still had rotary phones,
Mhm.
Or push button, but you had to take the phone and put it into.
Yeah.
Or Cradle.
On the
Yeah.
modem, yeah.
Yeah, on the modem.
Those were the first modem, sure.
Dial it up. That's
I don't
Do
crazy.
you want to play
I
a
learned-
game?
I learned how to use computers in high school,
With
where
punch
we would,
cards.
punch cards, and then later on, you would dial into the school district's mainframe,
Uh-huh.
and you would program in BASIC or COBOL,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and they had monitors that were just like
Green.
this lime green.
Yep.
You know, and
That's
we would
great.
get
I'll
introduced,
tell
and
ya.
like the most exciting thing was to be able to figure out how to play tic-tac-toe against
Right.
the mainframe, and I'm like, yeah.
You know, on that vein, I was just the auto parts store by me is still using a dot matrix printer to print out their receipts. They have those pin form receipts.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
motorcycle shop I use they got a dot matrix printer too. They still crank those things out. I'm surprised they can get the paper.
They
Yeah.
never break.
We threw out
Yes, they do.
boxes of that stuff.
I made a living on fixing broken printers.
Put it this way: the new printers, they go through ink like there's no tomorrow, and
Yeah.
it's cheaper to buy a whole new printer than it is to buy the ink.
You
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
get the
That dot matrix,
Shackified
those
brother
that
with
ink
the
thing used to
Eco
last
tank.
forever.
Very true.
Gotta buy the one Shaq advertised.
What's old
with
is
the
new
Eco
again.
Tank.
With the what was that, John? Is that the what tank?
Shaq, he advertises the one from, I think it's from Brother. It's
Uh-huh.
got the Eco Tank.
Oh yeah.
They finally decided to put like big ink tanks in them.
Well, yeah, and it's probably fillable too. So
I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
I just broke down a few years ago and I bought a color laser for the house. And those
Okay.
cartridges are expensive. They last a while,
Oh,
but they're
right.
expensive.
Yeah, I got a Hewlett Packard. It's black only. I use it for all the invoices,
Mhm.
and I buy the XL cartridges,
Right.
and I think they're like $118 or $120 a hit.
Yeah.
You know,
Jeez.
it's unreal.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are rich.
No.
These
You would not
cans, like,
believe how much
75
paper
bucks a pop.
you go through in my business.
You
Printed in.
Try. I'll trade. I'll
Crazy.
trade. I'll trade, John.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get the amount of invoices I go through a day.
These things are like $80 a piece.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and there's 4 of them.
Jeez.
Yeah, the color ones, sure.
And
Yeah,
that
what's
one's
his
halfway
color?
done.
So, Lewis, let me ask you a question.
It wasn't me.
No. So, seriously, what kind of got my attention today? I had a couple things, but I wanted to jump on. What are you guys hearing? I mean, you guys are much more connected. Because I mean, all the dealers locally, the best deal I've found locally on an F-350 is MSRP. Nobody's dealing. So, but I think once these chips hit, I think it's going to be it's just a free fall of price because you're going to have a bunch of new 21s on the lots. And I mean,
Exactly.
so I don't know. I've heard some dealers. I mean, my dad just literally bought a truck tonight. He traded in his Mini and got a Tacoma. He ended up paying like $2,000 over sticker because he couldn't find another one. So he said, you know what? I'm just going to buy it. I don't have time.
This is not the time to buy.
No.
Stick it out. Don't buy.
Well,
Yeah,
no, he needed a new one. His car was done, but I don't need to. I mean, my Tundra is fine. It's but what I'm thinking is if I just wait till the spring. But some guys are saying like late 2022, early 23 before this thing really. I mean, okay, Brian, you're shaking your head, so you that's what I mean. I don't know if I can wait that long. I got the itch for a new truck, but
Yeah.
I may have to if I'm smart. So.
When these chips start rolling in, it's going to be like the days of Crazy Eddie. It's going to be insane.
Yeah,
They'll
those
be
prices are
giving
going
them
to
away.
drop.
They'll be
'Cause they're
they'll
not-
be wanting to throw these things off the lot
Yeah.
because they got to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Well, I heard a lot of the deal. I know the Toyota guy stopped in to look the other day. He said, Toyota, they've throttled back production 40%. They're getting ready for it because they know
Well,
it's coming.
Yeah, well, they've all done that. That's Ford. Ford's done it. GM did it 2 weeks, like a month ago. GM
Okay.
stopped building trucks altogether.
Right.
They just stopped. Okay. And Ford, if you look at like a lot of new TV commercials, and if you go into a Toyota dealership, they have build your own car.
Mhm.
And the reason why is for what is coming in. I was told that like just recently Ford had gotten something like 500,000 chips or something that came in, And instead of running out and putting them in those trucks or all that stuff that's built, they're using half that stuff for build your own, because they know that that 2022 is here, and that's what people. So, what's coming in, they're parting out and using just to build your own. One of my customers they went down to the Toyota and built their own Toyota, and they told them $500 deposit, and you got 9 to 10 weeks or 9 to 12 weeks for your car to come.
Which isn't bad.
No,
the Toyota dealer here, on the Tacomas, they're not getting this, but they've got a $10,000 markup on Tacomas.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, whatever comes in, whatever comes in and it is not spoken for, they just jack the price. The person that walks in with the fattest checkbook's going to get it.
But they're putting 10 on the window, but they're getting 3. That's what they're saying. So.
Yeah.
But my dad got it $2,000 over in my hometown, and like down in Martinsville. So it's still they're not selling as much, but they're making more, so they don't have to sell as many because they're trying to keep people employed.
Well, what's going to happen is going to be like the housing market in 2008. Everybody's paying more for the vehicles now. When they go to trade them in, they're going to be hit. Everybody's going to be upside down, and repo man's going to be fired up.
Yep.
Well, that's why I thought about doing. My Tundra is still holding really good value. I'm thinking about just getting rid of it now. You put the money in the bank and go buy like a 95, 1500 Chevrolet, something I can go to the dump with and just use it for that. And then when the market, just get rid of it. The small block Chevy, that'll always be worth something.
The only guy, and if you listen to him on Saturday morning, is that John Wolf Clay, that Give Me the VIN guy.
Yeah,
that guy is on the market, and everybody else is about 2 weeks behind. And like I said, all you gotta do is dump your VIN in there, and they'll come pick it up. Or they'll actually pay you more if you drive it to them to one of their places.
Well, I'm trying. I got a bunch of stuff on my truck that I want to get a little extra for, and I will. I've gotten some good offers.
All you gotta do is send them pictures. Send them pictures.
What place is that, Brian?
GiveMeAVIN.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's local. We hear him in this market. He's all over the country, but he's
out of Texas. He's out of Texas.
He's funny, dude. He's pretty straightforward guy. And yeah.
He's really good. And I tell you one thing, he pays a lot. I mean, what he's doing, but he moves. I think something like what was it? He did like. I can't remember what he said, but I mean, he does like $1 million a month, over $1 million a month in used cars. He's the largest car seller.
Well, it's crazy. So I went in the local Ford dealer here, a place called Ted Britt Ford, and they had a 2020 Platinum F350, nice truck. I mean, super nice. Guy traded it in on a 22. The guy pulled up the window sticker. The window sticker on that truck in 20 was $81,000. They're asking $83,000 for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm like,
Crazy.
God. I mean, it's a nice truck. I mean, they're nice trucks, but no, I'm not paying.
They're not worth that money, regardless of being new.
No, they're not.
And it's going to catch
Especially
up.
with an aluminum body.
I don't know.
So we had a 21 Camry come in last week put a power moonroof in, and the sticker price was, I forgot what it was, but they added $4,000 more. Forget about the sunroof, because there's no new cars. Someone's going to pay it.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Glad I got mine when I got it. I don't have to worry about nothing.
So Brian, when I send my VIN and I tell the guy I know you and I get a good deal, right?
Sure. I don't know how it's going to work out, but
It gives you less money.
Yeah.
No, but like I said, it's interesting, and the few guys that I know that deal with used car market, I actually got one guy, one of my customers. He's not even buying cars anymore because he knows the market's getting ready to really fall on that. He says, "Man, you can't touch anything." I mean, they want a 15-year-old car with 300,000 miles on. You're not walking out without paying $5,000 for the piece of shit.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's why I just thought about maybe picking up just selling my Tundra if I can get the money for it, and
Yeah,
just put the money in the bank.
yeah. If you
Yeah.
get, I mean,
That's probably your best bet. But
that
you
would be your
saying-
best bet, really,
but
because
buying something
you're
else
never
now
you're
is a bad
never
idea.
you're never going to get this money again. I mean, that's like what John says on the show. You'll never. I mean, this will never happen again this way with how
Well,
that
I mean,
money.
You know, but John here on the call, I mean, the Tundra's not a bad truck. It really isn't.
Yeah.
It's a nice truck. It just won't pull what I want to pull down the road. I know it won't, and so
I needed pulling capacity, towing capacity. I needed bed weight capacity.
Right.
I was
Well, that's the
crushing the
problem, yeah.
springs.
That's the problem with
Can't
the
do
Tundra.
that.
It's just, yeah, it's got the power, and then I have my Tundra's a 2015, so it's got the small tank, which sucks ass. The 26-gallon crap. So
It's on the
Jason,
light end.
Jason, just come on
Like
by
half.
and buy my tool truck, and you'll have all the pulling power you want, baby,
Exactly.
and a place to
There you
sleep
go.
in. It's all yours.
With the
It's gotta
tool.
be, it's got to be
Yep.
full
Convert that
when you
into
buy
a
it.
motorhome.
You know?
yeah, dude,
It's got heat
I'm
and
eventually-
AC. Man, you
Yeah.
be tits.
No,
Portable-
I'm gonna get me
portable
I'm gonna
toilet.
I'm gonna get me a big redneck fifth wheel, and then we'll come down and visit John in Florida.
There you go.
Yeah.
No.
Gotta have a big redneck fifth wheel.
But
So
yeah.
Justin, we got Justin in the house. Justin, tell us about you a little bit.
Yeah, so I work at a hot rod shop up in Michigan. Fabricator, mechanic, do whatever really. But I've been around cars my whole life. My grandpa was a drag racer. Building hot rods with my buddies in college and high school. Just pretty much always around it.
What
Yeah.
city are
Cool.
you in?
Michigan.
Saginaw, Michigan.
Okay.
All right,
The
transmission
training.
lane.
Yeah, Saginaw. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I like this guy.
And steering boxes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, right
steering.
down the road.
Saginaw steering boxes. That's right.
Cool.
Are those
So,
factories still in production?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
What do they put them in now?
Quite a
Guess-
bit.
I don't know. I guess a lot of stuff's got Saginaw boxes in it. It's just rebranded or whatever company. But yeah.
True. Probably makes sense.
Didn't they used to
Wow.
make some pumps too?
Pumps.
Used to make
I
what?
believe so.
Power steering pumps.
Oh, power steering
Okay.
pumps.
Like
Yeah.
all those old GM ones and the ones that look like GM ones and all the other cars, weren't they Saginaw?
I believe
Right.
Oh,
so.
the ones that look like a TP.
Yeah.
No, the regular round one with the.
So Justin, you got a car yourself? Anything?
Not at the moment. I've got just my daily at
Yeah.
this point.
You need a hot rod.
Yeah. Like John.
But I do.
That's smart though. When you work on them, you don't want to, almost don't want to own one.
Yeah.
Too smart for yourself there.
You get to that
I
point,
used,
yeah, right?
I used to say that too.
So you Ray, you'll probably appreciate this most. So we come out of a church meeting last night, and one of my buddies, he was talking about his car or something. He said, "Yeah, my brakes haven't been acting up and stuff." And I said, "Well, we had a few minutes." I said, "Let me check your fluid just so." He opens the hood. I opened the reservoir, and I went, "Well, there's a problem." I said, "Will the car stop if you slam on the brakes?" He goes, "A little bit, and then you have to swerve." Dude, zero. When I say zero, nothing was in there. So we took it back to my house, and I had one of the big quarts of 3-4. We dumped a half a bottle in there.
Wow.
And it,
Oh my God.
and he hit and he goes, "Well, the pedal feels better." And as soon as he did, that fluid turned jet black.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I told him, I go, you get that thing to the. I said, you take it home, you park it, you take it to the shop in the morning. Because I mean, and he's driving around. I'm like, dude, that's how you die.
The other thing is, when was the last time he did brakes? Because people don't realize as the calipers, push in, the fluid fills in behind it, and the level goes down in the master cylinder.
Right.
So he may be like at the end of it, he may have no pads left either.
Well, yeah. He said, but all I know when it grinds, I go,
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
And I'm like, man, I said, even as much fluids we put in, there's still air in that system, big time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen a reservoir completely bone dry. Never seen it.
What type
And
of
I'm like,
vehicle was that?
"Dude, he's married with a kid." I went, "You are crazy, man."
What kind of car is it?
It was a Hyundai Sonata.
Oh, great.
He bought that. Yeah, that tells you right there.
Yeah.
We had when I worked for Country Lincoln Mercury in the rental division.
Right.
They had some people would come in and do like long-term rentals. They would rent like E350 vans, 250 vans, 350 vans. We had this guy couldn't speak English. I don't know where he was from, like Poland or something like that. Rented his van, had it for months. Brought it back. He's like, got trouble. It pulls to one side. I was like, okay, fine. They roll it in. They put it up on a lift. The mechanic pops the tires off. He put so much hard miles on this thing. The pad was totally gone. The backing of the pad was totally gone. The piston was half left. There was half the piston left.
Jeez.
And it had cut through the face of the rotor on the outside to the vanes.
Yeah. It was hitting the veins. Oh my
And
god.
the piston was rubbing on the veins, and the guy was wondering why this thing was pulling to the right. There was nothing there.
I see stuff like that on mechanics memes all the time on Instagram. It's like, how the hell does I've had some pretty bad brake, failures with people's cars I've worked on, but I've never seen anything like that. I wish I did.
I think besides that one, the best one is when they put it's usually in like a Ford or whatever. They'll put it up on the lift and they'll drop the drain plug. Nothing comes out. Then they pull the pan and it's jail.
I had that happen on a Ford van.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how does it get that bad?
Do you know how many people don't know how to check anything, and they won't bother to take it in and get preventive work done?
We had a guy come in this was a couple of years ago, and he was a friend of the owner. He says, "Yeah, I need you to look at my brakes." They go, "Well, because I used to do this stuff. Remember back in the day, I used to work on my cars, so I put brakes on it, and all of a sudden, it's making these noises."
No.
So he tells me, check the car out. I'm like, what kind of noises? Just these like metal noises. And you just put brakes on it, brand new. Like, what kind of pads? I bought Wagner pads. Like, okay, well, that's good. Well, it's great if you put them in the right way. He put them in backwards.
Oh, no.
So it was the backing plates on the rotors.
That's not real well.
Nice.
You hear those stories. I mean, I think one of the best stories was my sister had just bought a new Nissan Maxima, and I know she always took good care of her cars, and then she said something to me. I said, well, when was the last time you did so and so? I said, when's the last time you did preventative maintenance? She goes, it's a new car, it doesn't need preventative maintenance.
Well, for a little while at least.
Like we come from the same family, you know this. We were taught this. Check your oil.
It's new to you drive it off the lot.
Yeah. One of the best
little
ones
by
ever.
little, they're getting rid of stuff for you to even do. My truck there's no way to check the transmission fluid in my truck.
There may be. You just need a scan tool.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
Right.
let's put it like even on my FJ.
Yeah.
When I change the fluid, there's two plugs in the pan, and what you got to do is you put the scan tool on, and you got to get the transmission up to 121 degrees, and then you take the overflow plug out, and at that temperature, whatever overflow is the right level, and then you put the plug in, you're done.
So
you need the scan tool.
So John, you basically have to take your truck somewhere to have them check your change of fluid.
Back to GM.
Right.
Hey guys, I gotta go.
Later,
All right,
Scott.
Good night, everyone.
All right. Have a good week.
Good night.
Alrighty.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
For service, it's got to go back to GM.
You know what I saw tonight, the other day, Brian, which I thought of you. I think it's an OTC tool. It's like that little. I bought one of them. It's an OTC. It's a little, just a quick little code reader, really, just to plug it in, just to check readiness monitors. I like it for that because it's nice, quick, and dirty. And I saw one at the auto parts store hanging on the shelf that was it was for electronic parking brakes to relax the calipers. I didn't know. I was very surprised to see that they made that in a small version tool.
Yeah.
Because that was like creme de la creme. You had to have like the factory tool to do that a few years ago.
Yeah. No, that's we have it. We have that in our both ways. You can get just to do the rear brakes. That's all. And even in our I think in our $200 scanner, it has it in now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. I may invest in one of those little small ones. That's, That's great.
But one of the best ones on the brakes was we had a guy with his 928, and he drove the pads past the pads and into the brake calipers, and it was all wiped out, and wrote him up, did the brake job. And about 3 months later, he comes back up to the dealership and he says, "Hey, I got a problem. My car's rusting out." And I was like, "Well, that's kind of weird. 928's aluminum body. It's not going to rust, And then I remembered it was the car that had eaten up the brake pads, and all the metal had melted into the paint. So when it rained, the white car turned rust orange."
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And I was like, so he goes, "So that's covered under warranty, right?" And I was like, "No, dumbass. You need a paint job to fix that." And he's like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense." And I'm like, "Yeah, all that metal that came off when you grounded the brakes melted into the paint." And
Jeez.
so every time it rained, his car turned a little orange. So it was kind of
had to probably be a Ford.
No, it was a Porsche.
I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, it was a Porsche.
Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay, Terry. I still love you.
Back at you, man. And Scotty Boy was right. Saginaw, they did make a steering pump. It's that ham can looking steering pump.
Yeah.
Oval shaped looking. Yeah, because I got one on my Trailblazer SS when I put the blower on it.
Brian, did you see what that 928 from Risky Business just sold for?
No.
Almost $2 million.
Really?
Exact car?
Yeah. The 928 that he drove in the movie.
The U-boat.
Oh,
Yep. Who's the U-boat commander? Wow.
That's crazy.
It might have been like 1.7, so they got a good deal. So
that Porsche looked like a frog. I always thought the headlights popped up like that.
Right.
pop up, yeah. That's
Hideous.
But have you ever heard a 928 with exhaust work? My buddy's got one with headers. Dude, it just doesn't. It doesn't sound like it. It just sounds awesome. But it's cammed, and so it just chunks. And they're not supposed to sound like that. It's the only V8 Porsche ever made, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like a small block Chevy. It's just hilarious and it's fast. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Since they caught on fire, so now
he was doing donuts in the parking lot in that movie.
Oh, I remember all that. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah. The U-boat commander.
So what's up, Terry? What's good with you?
Same old, man. Just coming back from the shop, man. Trying to get the SEMA card, like summed up a little bit,
Better hurry.
It just came out of paint. That car looks beautiful. Wait until you see this car.
I can't wait.
I can't even send you pictures of it because pictures don't do it justice. Wait until you see. It's a 73 Trans Am with it's going to be the Hotchkiss booth.
This is your car.
No, it's not my car.
No,
It's called AutoWorks. I'm helping them put it together and everything. And this car is no joke. I tuned it, but you know what's happening? It's got an LT1 with a Maggie supercharger on it, and the whole front end has been removed and from the firewall. It's all 2016 Camaro. It's got Camaro gas gauges. Even got the what's it called? That little wing on the back of the cars that for the Bluetooth or whatever it is. The satellite.
The shark fin.
It's got the shark fin on there and everything.
Yeah.
That car is going to be. We just got moving that. I just got the deadline, the inside the fenders and underneath.
Nice.
I'll tell you, removing the subframe was it's a great way to paint that car. That really made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I mean, they set it up where it's just detachable, so it just comes right out, and they got like a roll cage kind of in it. We lost track of time to put a roll cage because these are the guys. I think it was the last SEMA 2018. They were the one with that burgundy in the Hotchkiss booth again. It was a 70 Chevelle that was flared, that was widened like 5 inches. It's the same guys. And they had like a roll cage in the car, but you didn't see it because they tucked it way up in the roof of the car.
Cool.
It just looked right. And they wanted to do the same thing, but we ran out of time.
Yeah.
So now the car is getting. We had to put the flush mounted windshields in. The back window on a 73 Trans Am, that flush mounted one didn't fit at all. It did not fit at all.
Good thing you said that, so I'm not going to be buying one.
Well, you know what happened? This is what happened. He had an extra one because they sent him an extra one because the first one broke, the front, but he had the back, and it fit like crap. I mean, you know how the top of where the quarter meets the roof, it comes down like this.
Yeah.
That windshield came down a little too much.
Ooh,
So instead of having an arc like that,
Farted.
one side had one came down like that. So you had to do some body work, and he wasn't going to go upstairs and get the old windshield. He goes, "Oh, they probably come from the same mold." I was like, "Lou, go upstairs and get that windshield. It might fit. Who knows? Right now, if we're dealing with one that doesn't fit."
Yeah.
Was it glass or plastic?
He went upstairs, no, glass.
Huh.
He went upstairs and it fit better, but he had to do some. He had to build up the roof line a little bit. So
Did
it
you
fits
guys
perfect.
mess with like new quarters and things like that? Is that what the reason why? Or is that stuff all still original? Because if
I'm
it's
trying to think.
original, that glass should fit.
Yeah,
You
but
would
you know what?
think,
It wasn't made to a tolerance that was going to be close.
Exactly.
to the
It's
factory.
Well,
quarters
no,
and
I'm talking about the original style type glass that you put
No.
on with
It was
butyl tape.
the quarters haven't been done. The roof hasn't been done.
Okay.
It just was if you put, and you can just see it. Matter of fact, I got a video of it where you got those two windows right next to each other. You can see one just has a crazy arc like that, where the other one is
Right.
like nice and smooth.
Yeah.
And
But,
it's
but the question is, what was the car's history? Because is the car twisted?
no, not twisted at all. That car, it was a nice car. We just took it apart. It was. It
John,
had,
John,
it had a little bit of rust, but there was no.
I lucked
there
out
was
with
no
that
stone
one because
damage or anything.
I bought a rear window from NPD.
Mhm.
So I don't know who makes their replacement glass. It's not super expensive or anything. And
Is it a flush mount?
no. I just got a regular one because
Regular one you have no problem, but if you want
trim
that
out,
flush
yeah.
mount one, if you want
Yeah.
that flush mount one, you're gonna.
Well,
do
I
some
was
work to
worried
get that
because
thing
you got a roof from an 81, and you got quarters, Japanese, Chinese quarters from a 70 to 73, and I was a little worried about that.
Oh,
fit.
of course.
So I got the window, and it was before the car was final welded at the body shop, and we got out the suction cups, and we put masking tape in the channel, and then we laid the window down, and it was like dead on.
Wow.
And I'm like, awesome, welded up.
Welded up.
So-
That's it.
Jerry, what's the difference
Yeah.
in the glass when you buy a flush mount window? What's physically different? It's
They're
thicker,
a little
right?
bit bigger. They're a little bit bigger and wider because what it does, it takes up basically that chrome piece that goes on all these GM cars and Ford cars. That's just for like, to hide the mistake of the window not fitting, basically.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, yeah, because you see the gap around the window.
Exactly. So they're like, boom. But now
'Cause I know
with the
with my
window,
car, I had to change the windshield again, and my buddy, the glass guy, got me a new shield. And as soon as he gave it to me, I'm like, "Wow, is this the right windshield?" It's thinner. It's not as thick as the original glass.
Yeah.
No.
The
So when he
aftermarket
installed
stuff's
it,
thinner.
He had to make sure he had blocks in place. He used extra butyl. He had to build the windshield
had to
out
build the windshield
so
up,
the molding would fit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
But
what you got to do with the flush mounted window because you got to build it up such a way because
Right.
there is no it's just a beetle tape, and I think there's something else afterward because you got to look at it like this. It's like a new car. You can actually see the space between the body and the windshield.
So that body work's got to be dead on perfect.
It's got to be dead on perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
And it's not like in the 90s where you had a flush mounted, but you have that little thin piece of rubber that sandwiches between.
Right.
No,
right.
it's the rain channel is the water going between the beetle tape is the rain channel.
That's pretty common on most new cars. I mean, my Honda was that way. My Acura doesn't have any, the back window is just glass. And then they do that. I mean, those cars are so well built. I mean,
That butyl tape is no joke, though.
No, that's
Right.
tough stuff.
No, once you put that windshield down, that's it. Once you get the bubbles, that's
You
it.
know,
It's done. It's a done
I had to
deal.
change the
Yeah.
quarter on my wagon years ago, and that big side window. My buddy Jeff fought with that thing for about 3 hours, cutting that butyl out. That window did not want to come out. And he says, the other windows are made to pop out, or he goes, those side windows are made to be structural. So Ooh, what a pain in the ass that was.
No. And it's funny, you guys were talking about brakes. I'm actually doing a video, like telling people, hey, you got to change your brake, because brake fluid, I think, is the most overlooked thing.
It is.
Because that thing, it absorbs water, and you should do your brake fluid like at least once. If you're going to change your oil, change your brake fluid like maybe every 3 or 4 times.
Actually, no, it's like
Every
roughly every 3 years, 2 to 3 years is what they recommend.
Yeah, every 2 years.
And I'll tell you this, the cars I service all the time, like the family cars and some of my friends' cars, it's like every time under the hood, I'll just suck out the master cylinder with a turkey baster and
There
just
you go.
refill it. You're getting 80% of the fluid out right there.
There you go.
So
Because if you get a soft pedal, it could be because your brake fluid is bad.
Well, it's like I said, it's hydroscopic. It absorbs moisture. I always tell people, I said, brake fluid, if you think of it, for people who don't understand even what brake fluid is, I tell them, it's like blood. I said, you're never supposed to see it on the ground. And when you do, it's too late. So that means you've already had a breach in the system, you got a hole, and now you got big trouble, so don't drive the car. And they're like, wow, really? It's that important? I'm like, yeah, you never see it. It's a sealed system. And if you do see it, you don't have time to wait. You got to fix it now. And it's going to be expensive.
Darius, if you want to do a video on brakes, just interview Ray.
No, I'm
Do a lot of brake
going
work.
to write some of the stuff down what he just said, because he's right.
That's actually, there's a guy on the Corvette forums, they call it the Ranger method, because the Corvettes were known to get, especially C6s, they were known to get crappy pedals. Pedal would stick to the floor. So he would just do exactly what you said, suck it out, fill it back up, pump it, do that 2 or 3 times, do that preventative, and it just keeps everything fresh.
I do it to all the cars, my daughter's car, my car. Sometimes I forget, I just did this. Do it again. I did write, Terry, I did write an article about that. I got to think if I have it on our website. It got published somewhere.
Nice.
I don't remember where, but
nice.
Hey, I got a question.
I
got a question on my Cadillac. I want to change the power boost. Yeah, Consuelo. I'm going to change the power boost. What would you guys suggest taking that factory one out? What would you put in?
What do you want to do? What's the?
It's just old and ugly, so I want to put something.
Put a Hydro Boost in.
Well,
You guys can shake your head all you want. I did that on my Chevelle.
I know.
I did that on my Chevelle. The guy that bought it didn't. I said, you got to be careful. He hit the brakes. It about threw me through the damn windshield.
Yeah.
I mean, because that car was a cammed, 454, and those speeds. You better not be in front of that car with it before I did it. You were going to get run over.
No, they do work well. Well, Lewis, the point is, why not just replace it with a new booster of the same kind?
Well, that was a thought, but I didn't know if I can get an aftermarket, something sweet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
they got
aftermarket, they make them smaller.
Yeah.
They go to 8-inch. Yours is a 12-inch probably. So they go to 8-inch, but then they get deeper.
You get deeper.
Because you got to have the same volume. There's a guy out in Oregon I use called Booster Dewey, believe it or not. And Booster Dewey rebuilds boosters. He did the one for my car, did one for the Mustang at the shop. And then they give you they give you the option of black, natural, CAD plating, however you want to finish it, chrome, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was.
Yeah,
today
and
I called,
don't forget,
I
if
called
you spill
Willwood
brake
today.
fluid on any of the paint, you gotta make sure you wipe that brake fluid off quick.
Unless it's
Yeah.
.5. .5
Exactly.
does not eat paint.
.5 is a 5 or 5.1.
Either one.
Either one.
one.
Not
But
five.
all all your aftermarket brake companies don't want you to use .5.
I know.
No.
I know. They don't play well with each other. You can't mix 5 with anything else.
No, 5 is silicone. You can't
Well,
mix
I'm
it.
gonna paint.
5.1 you can mix with
5, yeah.
.4.
Right.
Well,
Not
I'm going to
four,
paint
not
a lot of stuff under the hood, so.
Yeah.
I'll probably go with the,
Go with the CAD plated one. It's gold, man. It's like
Yeah,
rich looking.
Yeah, the CAD plating is nice. But then you got to paint that master cylinder too. You got to put like a cast coat on or something that's not going to let the cast iron rust.
Some pinstripes.
Unless you go to Willwood or something.
Oh,
CPC.
you know what you do? Get yourself a nice master cylinder and you get your engraver out.
I
Yeah.
was just going to say that. I think I might do
Well,
it.
then you got to start with like a CPP or Willwood that's already
Well-
smoothed and anodized, and then you engrave it.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, but once you engrave it, you got to protect that somehow. You got to put some coat of clear on there.
Send
I'm
it out.
gonna-
Get the outside of it powder coated.
Yeah.
Clear powder coat.
I mean, if you go with a CPP or a Willwood, they're aluminum, so
Yeah.
they're not
Easy
going
to
to
carve.
rust.
Oh, they are aluminum. I thought they were just
No,
cast. Okay.
they're aluminum.
They're aluminum. I
Yeah.
called
Yeah.
Willwood. I got on the phone with Willwood Tech today to ask them about brakes for the front of the Bird because I had read and then I found out. Remember, I told you on the Camaro, Ray, on the 67. I'm like, I ordered the wheels that Alston said to order, and the front tires were almost hanging out of the wheel wells.
Yeah.
And I questioned the guy, and I'm like, "What's the deal with that?" He goes, "Oh yeah, it's about 3/4 of an inch fatter on each side on the hub." I'm like, "Okay, well that is what it is." So I said, "My car, do you guys make a kit where I could put your caliper over my rotor, mount it?" Nah, you got to buy the whole deal, hub and all. I go, "Well, how far out is it going to move the wheels?" He goes, "It's 90 thousandths a side." I was like, "Oh, okay. I could live with 90 thousandths a side." So we started talking about master cylinders, and he wanted to know, is it going to be manual or with a booster on it? I said, it's going to be a booster. I said, but I can't use a stock 11-inch booster from a Firebird because it's a big block with tall valve covers. I said, and the booster gets in the way. I said, so it's going to be like a 10 or something like that. He goes, well, I can tell you the perfect way to do it. He says, it's a little backwards. He goes, you need to get your engine running and see what your vacuum signal is. He says, and then call us. He says, because if you're in a certain range, like 14 to 16, he said you could go down as small as a 10 and not have a problem. He said, and then what we would do is once you tell us what your basic like idle or off the pedal cruising, vacuum signal is, he goes, then we'll tell you what size booster to get and what size master to get. He goes, because on that, we're probably going to recommend a 1-inch master front and back because you're going to run 4-piston calipers on both ends.
That's what I had.
He said, but we may wind up putting, based on your vacuum signal, we may wind up putting you into 1 1/8 to make up a difference. And I'm like, see, nobody ever talked to me like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's really, really cool.
They
So
know
I
their
told the guy, I
stuff.
said, yeah, I said, I can put the brakes together and run all my lines and get the motor fired up, or maybe even have the motor fired up on the dyno at the engine shop so I'll know what the vacuum signal is.
Lewis,
He
do you
says,
see
yeah,
this
he says
picture
that's
that
the
I've
best
got?
way. He says, if you do that, we'll tell you what booster to buy, what master to put in there. He says, and you'll have brakes that will just amaze you every time you drive the car. And I'm like,
Yeah.
All right, guys, I got to bail.
all right,
Bedtime.
good seeing you.
See you guys.
All
All
right.
right, take it easy. See you next week.
Lewis, do you see this picture I've got up? It's kind of fuzzy. Do you see that?
No, it's too
No.
low.
No.
Oh, all right. Let me see if I can.
Raise
Is
it
it
up.
better?
But he's
Well,
trying to
All he
share.
sees is you. Oh, the share don't work.
Oh no. Okay. Well, sorry. I was gonna say because I
Well, there
got
it is.
to think.
There it is.
There it was.
For a second.
You see it?
Wait,
Yeah.
put it back up.
Well, it was. It was an
It's on.
engine bay,
It
right?
was on for a
Yeah.
second.
What I would. Only reason I was gonna show you because it's not. When I first started seeing them, I'm like, man, they stick out way too far, but they don't. I mean, the one I've got.
The hydro boost is saying.
Yeah.
I saw a hydro boost for the 67 Camaro. The master cylinder was like what is it,
Halfway out the
1.3?
fender
It
well.
was at like cylinder 3.
I know.
No.
I
The
know.
only.
It's like this small.
This
Yeah.
was hydro. The guy's name is Jim. Oh, what's the guy's name? Jim something. I had 6 pistons on the Chevelle or 4. I can't remember. But anyway, and we had an adjuster. I mean, that Chevelle dude would stop. It would rip the frame out from under my Tundra. It stopped so good. But the only challenge was you had to run the lines. We had to come up around, and we actually went under the front driver's side fender and brought it around. That's the only thing about Hydro Boost that sucks. You got to get the fluid back there. So, that's where the argument comes into, what Ray's saying. And the Hydro Boost is great, but it can be a pain in the butt and it's finicky. So you got to get it right.
Right.
And, that's, man, when it's right, oh, Lord.
Sweet.
I had
we
Hydro
just
Boost on my diesel Blazer, and it was awesome.
Okay.
It was
all right.
fun.
So we just learned something new by you putting that picture up. If anybody wants to share anything, share it, and then I have to put it up on the screen.
So
and no weenie pics.
Yeah, I want to see your weenies.
So like here's the picture. Can you see it?
Hold on.
So wait, if you could see it, that means I should be able to see it.
Yep.
I don't see it.
Me either. It's not there yet.
Well, I don't know.
Hey, fellas, I got a question. Who's the new guy?
We don't know. He just popped on the
Right
screen,
next to
huh?
him all night. You didn't know?
Well, the conversations are always great as they always are, and I was just like, "Who's the new guy?"
All right.
Oh, there we go.
We see it.
If you look, it's not a very clear picture, but if you look over, that's not very big. That's a
No, it's
that's
not.
a Willwood master cylinder, and I can't remember what you were talking about, John. If it was an inch or inch and 8, but that Jim from Hydrotech, I think it's the name of the company.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's not that big. But you
That
don't
Hydro
see-
Boost looks real short. I've
Yeah.
seen
Yeah, it almost looks like the size of a master cylinder with the booster.
Right.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. There's no huge big mega booster. It bolts right onto because it's all. I mean, it's maybe 4 inches, 6 inches, and you can get it in different grades, get it polished, get it show, and all that.
Yeah, I'd
good
like to
stuff.
do that.
All
Yeah.
right, so
it's
hold on a
Hydro.
second. So, okay. Well, first of all, who's the new guy?
Justin.
Oh,
Justin, what's up, man? How you doing? I'm Terry. Nice to meet you.
Good. How you doing, man?
Justin, this
doing
is
pretty good.
Coverman 66. He's a celeb.
And
Oh, yeah,
Justin's
man.
been here before.
He's
I've been
world.
following you guys.
Justin,
I
there is
guess
a question. Of the Tri-5s, which is the best year?
6.
Oh yeah.
You and me, Terry. You and me.
You're out of here.
Terry paid him.
No.
Oh,
We got a
man.
bad connection. Click.
Justin, you just won yourself a wheel, bro.
I thought we were
That's
gonna
right.
be friends.
You tell him.
Forget
And
it.
what
Always
about
on
the
the six,
56
man.
do you like better?
What's that?
What about the 56 do you like?
I like that full width grill. I just
Oh man.
some,
You had so much
Oh.
potential. You just got to stay quiet.
Totally blew it.
This
Totally
conversation
blew
is
it.
not over. All right.
Actually, I want to hear about the stuff he builds. He works at a shop.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
gotta talk about that
so-
stuff.
yeah. So American Gas or Hot Rod Shop up in Saginaw. We're pretty much a full service shop. We do paint, body, metal fab, mechanical work. I mean, we're working on anything from your 20s and 30s hot rods to new Hellcats and Mustangs and anything in between.
Facebook page. What do you got?
Yeah.
Facebook page, web page, Instagram. We need that info.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for sure. Our shop is American Gas or Hot Rod Shop on Facebook. Myself, I've got a Facebook and an Instagram. Justin Slingshot Airbets on Facebook and Slingshot 302 on Instagram. And hopefully within the next couple weeks, getting some YouTube
You ever
stuff
see a
started.
pencil that don't write?
So
Yeah,
let me
you
ask
got
you this,
YouTube
Justin,
China.
with all the gassers, you ever put yellow headlights in those cars?
We've had a few.
Where do I find them for my car? That was a conversation earlier. I need
That's
yellow
a-
high
that's a-
beams.
That's a tough one.
Well, that's why I
I tell you
asked
what,
you.
my boss is a whiz at tracking stuff down.
Yeah.
Those guys got it figured out, man.
I need 11. I need 5 3/4 yellow high beams.
What's your Facebook thing again?
Justin Slingshot Airbets.
Now, is Airbets your last name, or is that the
Yes.
nickname? Okay.
Yep.
And if you're Air Rod King, I was going to holler at you. Hey, we need some Air Rod.
Awesome.
I wish.
I'll be sending you a friend request tonight.
Awesome, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure to have you here, bro.
Let's take care of this
Well,
right here, right now. What was it on Instagram again?
Slingshot 302.
Ooh, I'm gonna go on that right this second.
Yeah, me too.
Man, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh, there you are, Dustin. I got you.
Yeah.
Whoa! I turned it on, and look who comes up. First thing coming right up. Boom.
Who?
Terry.
Big Terry.
Yeah, man.
I open Instagram, and there he is. He's like he's stalking me.
I tell you, he's a celebrity.
He's stalking
Oh yeah,
me.
look at that, Mr. QA1.
Yeah, there you go.
Nobody gives me nothing. I got nothing. I'm a nobody.
You and me both, John.
I'm just
I
a
gotta work for my
nobody.
stuff.
John, what is that behind you? Is that a Ford 9-inch? What is that?
That's a sheet metal Ford 9-inch.
Look,
Okay.
came up on mine too.
Yeah, he's got us all.
All right. What's the Instagram?
Slingshot 302.
Yeah.
Hey,
I was already following you.
Since you got some new front end parts, send me your old ones.
For the Cadillac?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Will they work?
No.
I think I'm following you already.
Yeah.
Yeah, followed by Chassis John and two more.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm following you already. You're already following me.
And the account is private. So let's see. We'll follow that. Okay, we requested it. Justin, you better get those
There we
requests
go.
out.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Justin. A fellow 56.
Yeah, you too, guys.
That's what's
Like,
up.
I've been following you guys quite a bit.
Fellow 56.
Go ahead.
You know it, man.
56 in the house.
Yeah,
You
we
got
felt
two
there
of
was
them
some
now.
eyes on us. We didn't know what
Stop
was
with
going
that
on here.
56 stuff. Come on.
Oh, I'm already following you too.
Yeah, we're already hooked up. Man, when's the last time you posted something?
Probably been a bit.
Almost the last time you did.
Yeah.
Good question, John.
Excuse me, I'm a little busy lately.
You probably
Yeah, I
just
know,
got a
I
lot
know.
of requests.
Let's see, yeah. Awesome.
John, I'm
Well,
waiting for
thanks,
the videos.
I'll be posting this weekend. Yeah, I'm terrible with that stuff.
I know.
I'm too old school. I get these
Keep following
messages
that thing,
all
though.
the
That's a
time.
cool build.
I got Instagram is hitting me up. Facebook is hitting me up every time I log on. You haven't posted on Chassis Connection in a very long time. You haven't posted on Half Breed to Resurrection in a very long time. It's like they're pushing me, you know? And then I get on Facebook, I get that deal where they put up a picture from your page and they're
Right.
like, for $5, you can advertise this and you can get 150 more followers. It's like, really? I'm going to give you money? Not happening.
Jesus.
Relax, John. Relax.
Nah, me and Zuckerberg, we would not get along.
Dude, I will say this. This is the only political thing I'm going to say. I love when John posts about politics. It's absolutely awesome.
So does my wife.
I laughing.
She's like, "Did you see what John posted today?"
I'm like, dude, you're going to have FBI at your house or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let him. Bring him.
John's raw. I love John.
I tell that all the time. Bring it. Don't matter to me. You ain't
Well,
got
Terry-
nothing on me. First
So
Amendment.
Terry, what you get in the mail? I mean, what'd you get? You got some lower and upper.
You got A arms, man. You got the arms I need.
I got
for
the
what car?
2.0s.
Come on, hook a brother up.
What car?
Well, those are gonna go on. I'm redoing the 71 Chevelle all over.
Yeah.
I'm redoing the whole. So I got the coilovers because I didn't have coilovers. I had convention with the 2-inch drop springs from Hotchkiss. So I'm getting rid of all that. It's going to be coilovers. I got slick by stitch by slick.
Mhm.
He's
All right.
doing my whole door panels.
Before you go to the door panels, back up a minute and explain to me why you chose the coilovers over traditional coil and shock.
Honestly, for the height adjustment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good answer.
The height adjustment and also
Externally adjustable valving on the coilover.
Yeah.
Well, I got that on the QA1 shocks now.
And you can spin the spring cup up
No, I
and down.
understand. I know how they work. Yeah, I understand how they work.
And
because
it's
I
so
have
much easier.
Because I have right now, I have a Verishock double adjustable. And let me tell you something. You don't need double adjustable. A single adjustable is fine.
Actually, I'll tell you the truth. Mine are single adjustable in the front, but to adjust them, I got to drop them down out of the lower control arm so I can get to the freaking adjuster. You can't do it
wait a
in the
second. You know
car.
how you can do that?
Oh yeah.
They have remote adjusters.
Yeah, not on mine.
Huh.
Do you have like an Allen key in the center where you could adjust it? Because
No, it's
on
a
the
black
Verishock,
knob. It's a black knob.
you have a little knob. Yeah, because on the
These
Verishock,
guys are
there's a
really
knob,
talkative
in the
tonight.
middle of the knob, there's an Allen key. So you can stick like an Allen key, one of those Allen key type screwdrivers in there and adjust them.
The other problem is I'm using Global West upper and lower control arms, and they put a really deep spring pocket in the lowers.
Oh, so you got like an inch drop in the pocket.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's where the shock sits. So I don't think you
yeah.
can get in there. So you got
This
to.
is why I'm just doing away with all, because I got SPC upper and lower in the front.
Right.
Just draw a little hole in the pocket so you can reach through.
There you go.
Work. That's
Yeah,
right.
true.
But I don't have
getting rid of all
hyperstep
that.
bits. I don't have the hyperstep drill bit, so I can't make the hole right. It ain't gonna work.
So
Because
Terry,
you know what
that old
happens?
setup will fit my caddy. So go ahead and just mail it over.
Send it over.
Because you know what happened? What happened was the car has like a 2-inch. The SPC has a 2-inch drop in the pocket, like you said. But then what happens is when you hit a dip, your wheel's going to want to. It messes up the travel of the idler arm. So when you hit a dip, it feels like your car feels like wonky.
I don't have that problem. With the Global West, they use what's called a negative G technology, where they
Well, let me ask you this though: did you get a drop spindle? Did you get a drop spring too?
the spring is shorter, yes, but I'm using stock spindles.
Okay, see, I got the drop.
And the car is like
2-inch. I got 2-inch drop from the springs itself, and then I got the 2-inch bucket.
Yeah.
So the car rides like crap. So I'm getting rid of all that, and I'm going back to rubber in certain areas.
Yeah.
Because Detroit Speed is the only company that make an adjustable lower and upper control arm that uses rubber. They're the only
Most of them
company.
use poly, right?
Yeah, everyone else is using poly or either the rotor joint. I
You're
got
talking about the rear.
the rotor joints. And the car rides like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the car will corner over. I mean, you can corner a penny. That car will handle. But
Yeah.
I'm going more for a street car that has the characteristics to be a autocrosser that you can take autocrossing instead of an autocrossing car that you drive on the street.
Yeah, I think mine's a little more towards the autocrossing side. I think it's a little more, it's designed a little more towards that in mind. Because, like you said, there is the cornering aspects are great.
Right.
No two ways about it.
Rubber will make you understeer ridiculously, but it'll drive nice.
Yeah.
Urethane is kind of dependent on the durometer. It could be neutral, or it could be an oversteer issue. And if you're running Heim joints, that's track use only.
And that's what I got in the back of my car. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't really get either. I don't under or oversteer. And funny, and when I was buying the parts, we went through all the list of everything I was getting, and I said, okay, I bought their front sway bar, and I bought the frame stiffening bars and a whole bit. And I said, oh wait, there's one piece missing. He goes, what's that? And I'm talking to the president of Global West, Doug. I said, no rear sway bar. He goes, you don't need one. I'm like, what A body doesn't need a rear sway bar? You always oversteer. He says, if you put these parts in your car and you get it to oversteer, he says, you call me. He goes, because I'll fly out there. I want to drive that car. He goes, it will not. And I swear to God, it does not oversteer. And I have no rear sway bar.
Now, I heard some people say that putting a rear sway bar makes the car turn worse.
I think in this case it would have.
I don't know how, but I always use the rear sway bar because not only just for the performance, but it just
it may be because I'm using, besides the upper and lower, the aftermarket control arms and the adjustable ones, I am using their frame stiffening braces that go from the upper control arm down to the lower. And those things, they're just solid bars. And they're adjustable.
Yeah, two little bars that come in and they hook up to
they're solid. And that may be the key to why you don't need that rear sway bar.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I still use a sway bar because, like I said, it just looks too cool not to have one.
Yeah,
it just looks like something's missing. You look back there, you're like, oh man.
Well, I don't drive behind me, so I don't see it.
Yeah, but see, when I'm running someone, you know, I'm more concerned about what they're looking at. I want to make sure that the visual looks good because, you know, like they'd be like, "Damn, Terry's beating you," but at least the visual looks good.
Well,
Yeah?
see, but I look at it this way: if I'm ahead of the guy and we finally talk, he's gonna say, "Damn, how'd you get ahead of me with no rear sway bar?" I'll say, "Listen, dude, it's secret.
Yeah.
Suspension secret."
Suspension secret.
I read Mark Savitsky's book, How to Make Your Muscle Car Handle.
Ah, yeah, Mark Stavisky's the man. I love that guy.
Yes, he is.
He will talk your ear off, but he's a good guy.
Got to get him back. I had him on the show years ago. I got to get him back.
Oh, Mark, you can get him on here. Yeah, let's do that.
And get him on here too. Yeah.
All right,
He's the one who had me hook up my car like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't care what anyone says. People say that the comfort's in the shock. I'm sorry, the comfort is not in the shock. Comfort's all around. I'm sorry.
This is the kind of sway bar you need.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Chrome Molly, baby.
Nice.
This is the kind of sway bar that doesn't have any flex. Period.
Right. Nothing.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Here's your LS question tonight. You ready? 2013 Grand Sport 6-speed dry something car. That's my fun car. Okay. LS3. It's got exhaust. Soon. It's making about 430 at the tire.
Wait a second. So LS3 with a dry sump?
Yeah, it's a Grand Sport.
Okay, Corvette. Okay,
Yeah, it was a manual option. So it was.
I thought that was an LS7 in the Grand Sport.
No, it's the LS3 that are dry sump and the Grand Sport are actually handmade. They're like the LS7s.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
It's a manual thing because they've got the room to do it. So, all right. So here's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm gonna probably do an A&A. You've heard of A&A, right? A&A superchargers. It's you know, so it makes power up hot, so it doesn't put out a lot of heat. I figure on the LS with that blower running reasonable boost, the car should make 600 all day long with the tire. But the thing you kind of get to a point where it's just like not fun to drive. It's fun to drive, but it's not, you know, I'm debating on just waiting. LS3 heads flow pretty good. You know, they breathe pretty good. But then, you know, you start messing with doing a cam, head work and all that. The car will make 700 if you really wanted to. But I don't know. There's got to be some point where I don't want too much. I still want to be able to drive it to the beach and stuff. But when I want to get on it, that's why I'm thinking just go blower, swap the clutch out, and just roll with it.
To me, once you get above 700, 650, 700 at the
Start
real,
breaking stuff.
You not only breaking stuff, the car is not fun no more.
Well, that's why I'm thinking. Let's just do the blower. The blower, if you don't throw it in the boost, it's like driving the car stock.
That's why I like blowers. That's why I like
you put your
blowers.
foot. But the cam, obviously, they just sound so good with the cam. But
I like a little bit of a lope, but I don't like too much. Like blah, 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 not a crazy. I like it where people at the gas station be like, "Oh, you got something in there," but not like where it's like almost cutting off.
Yeah, but the cool thing about those A&A blowers, man, when they sit there and they idle, they sound like angry crickets. So they already have their own sound. And,
you know, when you said A&A, John will know what I'm talking about. I first thing I thought was A&A fiberglass.
Yeah, whatever happened to them?
Yeah, that was
I used to sell so much of that stuff.
Yeah.
A&A fiberglass.
Teardrop hood
your
scoops.
thoughts on that, Terry? Because I know like a Whipple or a Roots, like those will make more power down low, but they make a ton of heat. And you
gotta definitely have a proper cooling for those.
Right.
You definitely gotta have proper cooling for that. That's why I like the LSA. I mean, my supercharger, I can ride that thing all day long, and you can put your finger in the water, in the heat exchanger water, and it's like lukewarm. And that's like on an 80-degree day.
Wow. But you gotta admit, man, when you set a centrifugal upright, nothing sounds like that. Well, maybe the centrifugals just sound evil when they're coming at you.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I'll probably do. I'll probably just do the blower, maybe do a meth injection system for later, just so it's there.
I mean,
I don't know.
I would just stick with the blower, man. I mean, like,
no,
you know,
the blower's a done deal. The problem is, like everything, it's an 8-week lead time right now to get shit.
Well, it's like I tell anyone else. I mean, what's your plans for the car? Because like a lot of people, what they do is they build cars that can outdrive their limits. You know. Yeah.
The car, I mean, you know, it's one of those things. I mean, I know the car. The car's got, you know, it's a Grand Sport, so it's got a 325 on it, stock in the rear. So it's got a 12-inch wheel. I mean, it's a fun car that if I want to just get on it, I can get on it, you know. And that's the good thing about this kind of blower. You can keep it under $3,000 and it never goes into boost.
There you go.
So
I think you got the combination, my brother.
there's the
Hey,
guy-
fellas, I got to jump ship.
What's that?
Bye,
All
Lewis.
right.
I got to jump ship.
All right, Lewis, take care.
Hey,
Man, take
See
care.
See you guys next week.
But Terry, a buddy of mine that had one, he had a very similar car. The guy that built it said, let me give you one piece of advice. He goes, when you hit it, make sure it's pointing straight.
Yeah, because you're gonna be out. Yep. It's gonna
You need a-
that thing's
You
gonna
need a
kick in.
lumpy roller cam with a lot of valve overlap,
Oh yeah.
like a 110 center line.
Talk
Well,
about
I
no
got a
vacuum.
I got a
And-
question.
And then you need a Mylodon fixed 3-gear gear drive.
There you go.
No.
Or Cloys. You can use a Cloys.
Sounds like you got a blower in the car and you don't.
Right.
You don't.
Wait, John, aren't you in that car right there? Aren't you putting the Street Linko in that car?
No,
You're not. I thought you were going to do a Linko.
that's going into 81,
Okay.
the black one. This one's got a turbo 400.
Okay.
Easy to drive. Put it in drive and go.
Well,
This is
Street
the one
Linko's
that's not
easy to drive.
This is the one that's not going to make any horsepower.
That's the Cruiser.
The Cruiser, it's like,
We're
I
not
don't
gonna
know,
make any
what,
horsepower.
450, maybe 500 max. No horsepower there.
Okay.
It's the
so-
driver. This
He's,
is
he's saying that the
this
he's
is-
saying that the wheels.
no, seriously,
500 horsepower
Seriously.
driver.
just the driver.
Well, let me
Sorry.
ask you this question.
I'm even looking, and you know what's really? I can't believe it. Nobody makes an aftermarket factory Firebird Camaro second gen shifter.
Oh wow.
I got to buy a used one from one of these guys that scours parts and resells
What, the
them.
automatic or the 4-speed?
No, the automatic shifter. And then they got that funky console, plate.
Yeah, for the center
Kinda
console.
wider
I might have one.
wider
Let
at
me
the
check.
top.
I might have one. If I have one, it's yours, bud.
All right. Hey, did your friend find out if he had that fiberglass panel?
No, he has it for his. Yes.
I know. You said
But
you
not
were
yours.
going to look and see. If
Not
he had an
yours.
extra one.
Yeah, he didn't have an extra one. No,
All right.
he did not have an extra one.
I'll make
If
this
I
one
see-
work, but
But I got a question. It's
I'm
about
going to put the console back in the car, and I'm looking for this. Nobody makes. There's only one shifter that's aftermarket that fits in an automatic console on a Camaro Firebird, and it's that horrible one from B&M.
B&M.
Got that big ugly
Quicksilver.
chrome cover.
It has the
Yeah.
part that goes like this, and you both
Right? And when you go
Terrible.
to use it, like when you want to put it into reverse, you got to lift up the shifter,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's
The Quicksilver.
horrible. Yeah, Quicksilver's
Yep.
horrible.
Quicksilver.
So no, so
I had so
I'm not
many of
doing
those damn
that.
things.
yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm gonna buy used and refurbished stock shifter.
I do know I do have a Quicksilver if you want that.
No, no rule.
And it had that big black pedestal where if you don't have a center console,
Yeah.
You drop it right on.
Yeah.
So,
So it's either I either go with the kind of shifter that I had in the car at one point. It was that Winters with the gate, which is a super nice shifter, and don't use the console
yeah.
or use the console. My problem is here's the other issue. I don't feel like hooking up that linkage from the transmission to the steering column
Yeah. The
that
lockout.
turns on the lockout and does the reverse lights and everything.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
it's
gonna
the
be a-
two little that little
It's got that
Neutral safety
rod
switch,
and that little doohickey dealy, and his arm on the turn on the steering column. I'm not getting involved with trying to hook all of that crap up, finding those pieces and making that cord work. So I may wind up foregoing the console and put the winter shifter in it because
I
that
think
one
you're
you
gonna
can
get the- I
you
think you're
can
gonna wind
bolt
up
on. You can bolt on the two micro switches, one for your
Right.
neutral safety switch and one for your reverse lights.
I think you're gonna wind up getting the Quicksilver.
Quicksilver, baby. Old school. Come on, man.
You're gonna wind up getting that Quicksilver.
Even if I use the Quicksilver, I still got to hook up that factory linkage
John,
to get the reverse lights and the neutral safety switch to work.
Just tie the neutral state.
Man, you don't need that crap. You don't need that crap to start it up in any gear. Come on, man.
Dude,
Yeah, right.
No, you're a smart guy. Why don't you get one of those Jaguar shifters, the big U shifter that reaches around, and make that work. Put a Jaguar shifter in it. So, all right. So I'm gonna say something. You guys are gonna probably kick me off. What do you guys think of the new Tesla Plaid? Have you seen it?
No.
The one that will run unmanned. It runs low nines with no driver.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Watch
So,
the videos
They,
of what the
they
Plaids.
put it on the starting line with no driver and
Yeah,
let it go.
Ran in the 9 seconds with no driver, unmanned.
That's awesome because I like
But
Elon.
dude, you say what you will about Elon Musk, those cars are wicked. Those the Plaids of the 4-door, it will run low nines. It's just all-wheel drive. It doesn't just goes. And for about 130 grand, that will blow every Ferrari. Go on YouTube and watch. I think one of the guys literally, he lost like 3 times in his Porsche. He literally went online and ordered a Plaid from his phone. He yeah. But I mean, I never thought I'd say electric, man, but I watch these videos. I'm like, good man.
That's funny. My man lost the race and he wouldn't.
He ordered one.
I like everything he does except for that weird looking pickup truck that
Oh, that's horrible.
Oh yeah.
Cybertruck.
That's a stunt. He's doing that. They never gonna make that thing. They ain't gonna make that.
no.
Yeah, Brian's got one.
There it is.
Brian, they're never gonna make that.
Nice.
Dude, it looks like my 8-year-old nephew drew that.
No, you know what? When I first saw the video of that, when he was doing that presentation on that truck, as soon as I saw that truck, my mind had a flashback to MTV with
Beavis and Butthead.
no, not Beavis and Butthead. Oh my god!
Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
It was
You
that
idiot.
commercial. It was that song where you got those really crappy animation with those moving guys.
Well, that's Herbie Hancock. Herbie Hancock.
No, it's not Herbie. No, not
Max
Herbie.
Headroom.
Hancock.
Dire
Max
Straits.
Dire
Yeah.
Straits. Money,
Oh.
money for nothing.
Nothing.
Oh yeah, chicks for
Oh, crap,
free.
I thought you were talking about the legs. That was Herbie Hancock with the.
No, yeah. No,
Rocket,
when I
Rocket. That was Herbie Hancock.
Right,
Rocket.
Rocket.
Yes.
when I
Yeah,
saw
that's a
that
song.
truck, I automatically thought of that video from Money
Yeah.
for Nothing. That,
Damn, now I
that
gotta go watch it.
pixelated, very, very early computer generated, video cartoon, and everything was very triangular shaped in that. And I'm like, wow, that looks like something that should have been on that video years
I'm
ago.
Well,
telling
so
you,
was
dude.
Max Headroom. He could have
Yes,
driven
the
that
Max-
thing and fit right in.
Max Headroom. Yeah, he
Max
was all
is- Max is my hero.
cornered and everything.
Yeah.
Had the
Dude,
shoulder pads and everything.
Right.
Dude, Elon Musk is the master troller, dude. He fucks with people, and he's got the money to do it. I'm telling you that he's never going to build that truck. It's never going to happen.
I
Thank
don't think
God.
it
Never gonna
does.
build it. Look at, dude, how can you make something that hideous and make the tractor trailers that actually look fucking cool? How can you do
I know.
that?
Yeah.
I just don't see it. It literally looks like a.
It looked like an Aztec. It looked like a Pontiac
Yeah.
Aztec that
So,
went bad.
do you remember?
Yeah.
You guys all watch Ken Dig. Did you ever see the truck that Kevin built? That Kevin drew? It looks
Yeah.
like that, and they put it
Yeah.
up on the wall. It looks like a fucking 8-year-old. Sorry, looks like a 8-year-old drew it. Sorry.
Well, I want to tell you something. Hot Wheels has spent a fortune in producing these things because there are tons of different cars, games, tracks, you name it. There's so much of this stuff
Really?
on these things. Yeah.
They can make money on, sure.
So
Unreal.
when these things came out about 3 months ago, you buy them for 95 cents and you could sell them for $10.
Wow.
Jeez.
So how many did you sell?
A
None.
handful.
Well, what's up for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Brian? What's the dealio?
We got our half-inch pink guns, the pink impacts. That's going to be if we ever get them in. That's the problem. We just
And the pink ratchets.
yeah, we got the pink ratchet again. Let's see here. I got
He's a Matco dealer, Justin. If you didn't figure it out yet.
So there's the 1/2-inch gun, 1,600 foot-pounds, 2-year warranty. That's going to be it. If we ever get those in, that'll be a hell of a gun. Only 4.5 pounds.
So what's the
weight.
difference in that and the 1,600-pound gun that you have now?
Nothing. It's just that's the whole sales presentation.
Right.
Come on.
It's just pink colored. Okay.
Pink. It's special, and it's also they don't show it on the nose, but it has the ribbon and it has for the cause
How
there.
much is it?
It's $432.
It's not bad.
That's
That's
not
a
bad.
good price.
Nope. And let's see.
Better than that freaking $800 riveter from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I bet you they donate part of those proceeds during the month too. I bet. That'd be
Oh yeah. We 15%. We actually 15%. I can't remember. I haven't
That's a
seen
good
any
hit.
numbers, but I know that one year on Ray's show I had the numbers. We do a lot for breast cancer
That's cool.
awareness. We have
Really cool.
quite a bit. This one's not the other flyer. Where's my other flyer?
Look at Terry. Terry's watching plaid videos. Look at him.
No, I'm looking at that ugly Hummer, whatever truck Elon Musk crap.
Don't compare the new EV Hummer to that. That new EV Hummer is wicked.
No, the Hummer's nice.
Hey.
Yeah.
Isn't what's his face from Star Trek going up tomorrow?
Yeah, Shatner.
Shatner.
Tomorrow?
Up in space?
I think it's tomorrow.
Wow.
That's cool.
It's either tomorrow or next week.
Yeah, Shatner's going up.
How
Yeah.
old is he? Like he's like 90.
He's gonna be the oldest person to ever go into space. He's in his
Yeah,
90s.
90-something years old, 90 years old.
How cool is that? William Shatner, Captain Kirk going to space.
You know, one of the guys on the radio station was
That's
saying,
funny,
you know,
dude.
wouldn't they said, you know, not that we're asking for this, but if for some reason he happened to pass away in space, wouldn't that be like the perfect ending? I was like, yeah, that would be pretty. You know.
Actually, the perfect ending is if he kicked in space, and then they ejected his body
Right.
out,
Right. Exactly.
90,
like they
90.
did with Spock.
Right. Right.
They just let him go.
Yeah.
And then isn't that what they did with Bin Laden? They threw him in the water. They say
Major
They-
That's what they say.
Yeah.
I don't believe that for a second.
I think he's in a freezer somewhere
Yeah.
or something.
They used that excuse of it was something to do with the religion, respect to the religion.
Uh-huh.
It was what's the word? It's a ritual. I don't know, something. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I saw the video. They basically took a tablecloth and wrapped it around, I don't know, a mattress.
I don't believe that for one
Sent
minute.
it over. I don't believe that either.
No.
Oh, come
Very
on,
quiet
guys.
on that.
Let's not be that way.
All right. What do you got, Brian? You found a fly. What do you got?
Oh yeah, we got our toolbox. We got for the cause toolbox. Here's the
Toolbox?
yeah.
Is that a torque wrench?
No, that right there is our ratchet
Oh,
with
ratchet.
the black chrome,
Oh, nice.
pink handle. That's the
ratchet.
ratchet. What was it last year? Oh, I don't have it with me. Last year's was chrome. And then we have our everybody loves the knife, little pink knife there. That one's a hot seller. And the pink magnet. Nobody will steal my magnet if I buy a pink one.
Right.
So,
Hey.
that's pretty good there. But and then there's a handful of other stuff that also goes along with the 15% of all sales.
You notice how Brian mentions handful when he's talking about, you know.
Yeah, you know me. I do play on words a little bit. So.
I know you do.
Hey Ray, I'm gonna switch gears on you a little bit.
What do you got?
I ended up picking up a pair of 1986 Klipsch K-horns.
Oh,
Remember
nice.
those?
Yes.
Yeah,
Klipsch
they're
are very
cool.
nice speakers.
Yeah,
Very nice.
and I got me a record player too, so I'm all kind of vintage right now.
What kind of record player did you get?
I got a music hall. It's a nothing crazy. It's just
Okay.
I just wanted some vinyl in my room with the vinyl on K-horn sounds so cool. It's just there's
Yeah. I'm in the market for a Grado blue cartridge.
Nah, okay, yeah.
Because I'm a Shure guy. I like my Shure cartridge, but from the research I did, it looks like the Grado blue may be kind of comparable, but they go for big dollars.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was always a Shure or a Pickering guy.
I have them both. Pickering is my other one. Pickering was very bassy, and Shure I found to be very neutral. But I use an EQ, so I can tailor it. I love the Shure, and now you just can't get them.
So we've got. How many of you guys are drummers? Terry, you're a drummer. John, you're a drummer. Somebody else? You?
Yeah.
I was watching something the other night. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a drummer, and I really started watching a lot of. So I think some of the best the two drum solos that I really like are "Rock and Roll" by Led Zeppelin. And then I watched Tom Sawyer twice. Neil Peart, that dude was just
Neil Peart, yeah.
He's the professor.
Dude, I looked at his drum kit. I'm like, how do you know where everything is?
He does.
I mean,
He
you know, John, I was just talking with my the guy who saw my drum set, my old drum coach. He just bought himself a full WFL custom kit, which is William Franz Ludwig. That was the son who now owns the company.
Right.
And it's all maple shells, you know, beautiful stuff. But I asked him if he got him autographed because he has a couple WFL drums that are actually autographed. So he's buying Jeff Porcaro's cymbals.
Get out of here.
He sent me a picture of Porcaro sitting there like sampling these cymbals, and I didn't realize how tall that guy was.
He is.
Because he's sitting on this kit. I'll send you the picture, and it's from like the picture that someone was standing behind him because the throne is way too short. His knees are bent like almost up to his chest.
Yeah, he sits in a very weird position.
And his arms were like really like very long. I said, I guess he was just going for for sound, but yeah. So he's actually buying these Porcaro cymbals.
Jeff Porcaro, he played. He was Peg's drummer. Peg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steely Dan.
Yeah, well, this guy Tom, my old coach, does a lot of Steely Dan cover. He does a lot of vocal, and he does a lot of Steely Dan stuff. So
some of the best music ever recorded.
There you go. I think Steve Gadd had the best drum solo ever.
Oh, Gadd, master, yeah.
I like Steve Gadd because he's like he's a beatnik outlaw drummer.
Yeah,
it's all tatted up, and if you look through the years, you see the way his hair changed.
Oh yeah,
he had like really long, crazy hair. Now he's like all grayed up, and he's like
I think
old school beat.
Yeah,
drummer.
He used to jam with Bob James.
Yeah,
he was on Bob James drummer. Yeah, but those guys are session musicians, man. Those guys are just nasty.
Yeah.
To be a session musician is way harder than to be like, a drummer in a band. I mean, because drummer in a band, you pretty much got you got the gig and you got the flavor pretty much. You know that the guitar player is going to be like, okay, this is the way it's going to sound, and and that's how you get the unique sound. But to be a studio musician, man, I mean, that's just woo.
Well, you know what it is. You got to just be able to read the charts, and you got to be able to just, you got to be a chart reader, is what it is.
That's what
I remember when Zappa would audition drummers. I mean, guys like Vinnie Colaiuta were coming in, and I'm trying to remember. I read about another dude. Guys were like world-class drummers, and they were like scared shitless. They were like, because Christ, I got to read like the chart for Black Page, Black Napkin, which is like Zappa wrote that chart so that it's called Black Napkin because on the napkin where he did it, it was predominantly black. There was like no white left anymore. That's how many notes he jammed into that piece, and to play that, is ridiculous. So guys like Colaiuta will like super, they were like scared shitless to audition for him. I mean,
drum charts are very busy charts to read.
Oh yeah,
just I was never into that.
No, I'm just like
ridiculous.
I'm just like, what is the bass player doing? Where's the bass? Where's he at?
Right, exactly.
What's the bass player doing?
The best. I kind of got into this guy a little bit, and I know you guys know. I'm totally reliving what you guys know. I didn't really follow the Who very much, and my buddy got me turned on to him. Dude, I'm sorry. There's never been a better one than John Entwistle. I watched.
Oh,
him
bass
play.
player. Oh,
Dude,
Thunderfingers.
How do you play like that?
I actually thought you were gonna.
I mean, seriously, I love And now there's some heavy metal guys that I would say like Cliff Burton's up there with them, if you know who that is. Cliff Burton was the original bass player from Metallica. But I mean, I saw Entwistle play. I mean, literally, Pete Townsend should just leave the stage. They're two different realms.
You know, I actually thought you were gonna talk about Keith Moon, and I was gonna tell you.
I'm not discounting Keith Moon. Keith Moon was great.
Hold on.
No, he wasn't.
I was gonna tell you that in the 70s, when I started listening, that's what turned me off to the Who was Keith Moon.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Here I was scrapping and fighting to get any piece of gear I could get. And I'm watching him kick his drums all over the stage like they're freaking beach balls. And even at a young age, I was like, fuck this guy. It's like, you know what?
Right.
I can't afford. And then they're busting their guitars like these guys suck. Fuck. And I didn't listen to the Who. I wouldn't listen to them. I refused.
You get so
Leg
many
definitely
people
my-
talk about Keith Moon. Oh, he's like this fantastic drummer.
I don't get it.
As a drummer, you listen to him, and they talk about, oh yeah, you know, he really knows how to push and pull and this and that. And I'm like, no, he's a
sloppy.
shitty drummer. He's sloppy. He's playing ahead of the freaking beat or behind the beat because he can't keep up. And people think he's like the drum god. And I'm like, no, he's a sloppy ass drummer.
Bottom.
So yeah, Keith Moon was
John-
never my guy.
John Bottom. That was a better drummer. Way better.
He's always in the top.
Nobody got a right foot like Bonham.
No,
Dude, but I'm sorry. Again, I'm going back to. I'm sorry. Neil Peart was in his own.
Neil Peart was.
That is just.
He's way
You know,
off.
he does stuff with his arms. He's got like. Yeah. Sorry.
I'll tell you something. Neil Peart played in like 3 time signatures at once. And when I brought this up to this guy, Tom, my coach, my old coach, my teacher, he says there was something that I was always missing that I just couldn't put into words about Neil Peart. And he did it for me. He says, you know what? He goes, you know why, Ray? He goes, I don't look at him as a drummer. He's a percussionist is what he is. And I said, you know what? You're right. That's exactly what it is. He's a percussionist on a drum kit, on this, giant drum kit.
He's a very busy drummer.
And not to take the thing that gets me about Neil Peart that I could never understand as a drummer, you need to be fluid. In fact, this guy who was teaching me years ago made me stop. He forgot all about this. He made me stop bowling. And he says, you can't be a bowler and a drummer at the same time. I'm like, well, I'm not going to do them at the same time. He goes, no, you don't understand. He goes, when you bowl, you develop your wrist muscles and a stiff wrist. When you drum, you need to have very flexible wrists. He says, you can't really have both. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So I went for drumming. But, and it's all about that fluidity and being able to move back and forth and all. But Peart, but you watch Neil, and he's got fluidity. You hear the fluidity, but he plays very ham-fisted, like he's very rigid. I don't know how the hell he did it.
Yeah,
it's like what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing don't jive.
It was all smoke and mirrors.
No, I know he was doing it. He was.
Well, with Neil Peart, Neil Peart's the guy that if you want something that's very busy, and if you want that thing to be read exact, you get that guy. But Neil Peart is not one of the guys that you was like, hey, we're gonna have a jam session. We're just gonna jam and just feel good about the music. He's not that guy. He's not that guy.
That's when you get
Oakland would be that guy.
Or you guys are. I saw it because he did it when he was on stage with Jimmy Page. Dave Grohl can hold his own with a lot of those guys. The guy from Foo Fighters.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that guy. What's his name?
Dave Grohl.
Yes,
Dave Grohl.
Yes.
Well, you know where he got started, right?
Yeah, Nirvana.
Yeah, he was Nirvana's drummer. But
you know what?
He played, and Jimmy Page looked at him when they were doing the rock and roll solo. Jimmy Page was like, and I'm like, dude, you get the thumbs up from Jimmy. You're doing it.
You know what I saw the other day that was heartbreaking? Phil Collins.
Oh, he can't play anymore. Yeah.
They were playing, and Phil Collins he's like 70 something, but he was sitting on the stage, and his son is playing the kid. He can't play anymore.
He can't play. He's got all kinds of back
and
problems.
it was like so sad to see that.
Yeah.
They said this is going to be it for the band. They're not going to play anymore, but he was just sitting there on stage while his son played.
They said if one member goes, that's it. The band's over.
A lot of times, many times that's true. Yeah.
It's the one.
Going back to bowling.
Yeah.
I watched a 3-part video on the science of bowling.
Okay.
I couldn't believe what I learned about the oil that's on the lanes,
Huh.
and
Oh, yeah.
that the plastic that the balls are made out of, that these pro bowlers, they have different plastics for when they start the tournament and the lanes are really oily. And
Yeah.
then after they keep throwing a couple of balls, then they change to something. And it's all about the slip and the hook. And I'm
Well-
like, there's some plastics that actually absorb the oil,
Yeah.
and it changes the way they hook. And
I
they
was gonna
got to
say,
move
that's the-
over a diamond. I mean, there's like a lot of science on that. And I'm like, are you kidding me here?
After
I
after I
couldn't believe
started
Crazy.
after I started drumming, then I went back into bowling. Probably about 15 years later, and my two brother-in-laws are like serious bowlers. So they got me to throwing a fingertip ball, throwing a hook, and they tell me the nights that we had to go to the lanes because they would oil the center of the lane. And when you throw a
Right.
hook, that's what you want because you throw that ball to the outside and it goes nice and slow and makes its curve. And when it hits the oil, it takes off and just bang, hits the pocket and just explodes it. So I was like, man, once I found that little secret, I was like, but then I went bowling another night and they'd oiled the outsides of the lanes and then my ball's all over the freaking place. You couldn't control it.
Well, they were showing, on the lanes that the guys on the Pro Bowlers tour, they showed the way the lanes are oiled, and it's like a certain thickness for a certain distance from the start, and then it changes in the middle, and then there's an area where there's no oil, like directly in front of the pins.
Yeah.
And it's layered, and I'm like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And they showed the machine
Right.
that goes into the gutters and does that, and it's computer controlled, and it changes the amount of oil it's dropping as it goes down the lane.
Thought it was just about throwing a ball.
And I'm like, oh my God, And then
Right.
they talked about, that offset core that's in the bowling ball.
Yeah.
And how different bowlers like different cores and the clock angle that they put it at.
Yep.
And then they showed this machine that they throw the ball on, and it spins the ball around, and it finds the actual center counter, and it's got like a pin that puts a little dent in it, so that they know when they go to drill the holes, well, here's the center of gravity. And I'm like, I had no idea that all of that stuff is going on.
Yeah.
It's
See,
crazy.
that's too deep for me. And on that note, I'm gonna hang on up and go to bed.
All right,
Yeah.
Terry.
Later, Terry.
Come on, Terry. Don't be that way.
I gotta be that way. I'm tired.
Bill.
I didn't eat dinner yet, and I'm gonna try to get me something. I gotta stop
All
eating
right.
so late.
You got a Firebird to work on tomorrow.
There you go, Justin.
I got
Nice
some
meeting
emails
you,
to
brother.
work on.
56.
You too, man.
All the way. Look at that. Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Take care, everyone.
Okay,
Take
Terry.
care,
bro.
Terry. Be safe.
Be easy.
Be easy.
Be easy.
So funny.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna hit it too. I got some emails to do and I gotta crash myself. So
All right, go crash yourself.
y'all have a
Man,
good
that's
night.
no good.
See
All
ya.
right.
Man.
Keep playing that
All right,
vinyl.
See ya.
Take care.
Yeehaw.
Unreal. Talk about crashing. Did I tell you about the tanks we had to move this week?
No.
All right, so Shaq's guy.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's got a guy, so Shaq's got a guy, and he's one of our customers also. So he's having a house built, and he sold his house, so he's got to move his stuff into this rental house. He's got to stay in this rental house for like 9 months. So he's got 2 tanks. One of them's a 150, 4 foot long, no big deal, and there's nothing in it. It's just water and rock. He never bothered to put fish in it. It's been like 4 months.
Wow.
But then he's got this 10-foot tank that's got a shark that's like about 3 foot long. It's got 2 eels. One of them is what they call a tessellata, which is a kind that'll come up and like grab you.
Wow.
And that's about 4.5 foot, almost 5 foot long eel,
Jeez.
like comparable to the stuff that's in Shaq's tanks. And he's got a zebra eel, and he's got a spiny puffer that's about this big. So when he puffs up. He's like about the size of a basketball. So the only smart way to move this, because we had to use a moving company because the tank is just too big. We figured we'd move the small tank, refill it with water from the big tank, move the animals, get him to his new rental place. So we did that. 4 hours, no problem. Next day, go back, finish draining the big tank, take that water and put it into vats in trucks so we can put it back into that tank so we don't have to acclimate these animals. Get the job done faster. So we do that. We get everything moved. It was a long, arduous deal. Get the tank set up. We had to do some replumbing to make everything work. We get the animals in there. It's running. Everything is awesome. The next day, he doesn't know it, and he's not in this house yet. His electrical order didn't go through. They came and they cut the power. He texted me last night, like 9 o'clock. He goes, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. Nothing's running. The fish are dead. I'm like, you kidding? So then we go find out today that there was no power in the house. He walked in. It was still daylight. So he didn't turn on anything.
Yeah.
He walked up to the tank and everything was laying there dead.
Boy, it's not like my wife. Even in the middle of the day, the freaking lights are on in every room.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I
shut
know.
the freaking lights off.
I go through that too.
Oy.
So we lost all of that time and effort that we took. We wound up losing everything in that tank. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
Wow.
So he'll
Well, you
be
can make
getting new
sushi.
stuff. Yeah, not me.
Fire up the barbecue.
Eels,
Yeah,
eel.
right.
That's a staple in sushi, man. Shark too, I guess.
Barbecued eel, barbecued shark.
I think I had a shark steak once. I think down in Freeport, on Nautical Mile. I think I had a shark steak a few years ago.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Unreal.
And eel have it all the time in sushi. You know, it's
Yeah.
I'd be kind of upset that they didn't let you know that the power is going to be cut off.
Yeah.
When we were moving the tank in, his cousin was there, and his cousin said he was going to get that taken care of, get the account switched over. And I don't know, somebody dropped the ball on that one.
Well, it's still,
famous last words.
it still could have been on the power company's end. They might not have.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. You know, and it's a brand new house. He's renting. These corporations, they buy up all of these houses on a block in a development, and they just rent them.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, whatever. So nobody's lived in this place. It's brand new. So the power was on, I guess, because the builders need the power to be, doing what they got to do. And his cousin was taking care of getting that stuff, switched over. And somehow, some way, the power went out and everything died.
Wow.
Pretty terrible. Yeah. Unreal.
And you went to all that trouble to be so careful.
Right? Absolutely.
Well, you did your part. You did what you had to do the way you had to
I
do
know.
it. And,
Yeah,
that's-
just upset. He's had that stuff for a while,
yeah, sure.
So
Next, you're gonna go over there. You're gonna see his cousin floating in the tank.
It's like an
Yeah,
episode of Sopranos, right?
Right,
yeah,
right.
right. I don't know. I just felt so bad for the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's terrible.
Wow. So, how long was the power out?
Well, it had to be out for a while because that tank is huge.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Like, how? I mean, a fish could live
And-
without filtration for a while,
Right. and
especially
you got-
sharks and eels.
Yeah, the sharks and eels, they're real sedentary.
I could see the
And,
puffer maybe, but not the shark and the eel. That's
Yeah. So me and Dave, guy that works for me, were figuring the power had to be out at least 10 or 12 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I was totally baffled by that one, and I'm like,
Yeah.
really? So it is what it is. It'll get. We took everything out today. Dave went over there and took everything out. And when he got there, he called me up. He's like, "Dude, there's no power here." I'm like, "Really?" He goes, yeah. He goes, there's no electricity in the building. He goes, that's why everything died. It's like, oh, jeez.
So did you get the van back?
No, the van is going to the shop out there to do the ball joints and the tie rods
Okay.
tomorrow.
All right.
Tomorrow afternoon, he's dropping it off.
Got it.
So that'll be another, what, $700 bill or more?
Yeah.
That's cheap.
Ridiculous. Really?
Yeah.
Just to pop 2 ball joints and screw two new tie rod ends on and give it a wheel
Sure.
on it?
It's cheap.
I don't know.
So I saw an ad for Matco. I guess it was on Instagram that they those deep sockets, Brian, for the bumpers, the BMW bumpers, they put a set
Yeah.
together like with 4 or 5 sockets.
Yeah, that's the one. I mean, they're the 4.5.
Yeah,
Four
now
and a
they-
half.
Now they make them 6, I think, right?
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Just take a freaking bumper off.
Yep. You see, I don't know if you also saw. I don't know if I have the.
Oh, we see it all. We see it
I
all.
don't know if I have the newest. Oh, did you see the Gibson guitar?
Yes. I didn't see that one. I saw like
Man.
was it a blue one in the case? That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then this is what are those things called?
Boombox.
No, bump box.
Boombox.
It's no bump. BUMP. Bump
Why is it a
box.
bump box?
But the speakers, and it's got an amplifier built into it, so you can plug the guitar into.
You got to get some drum heads.
Now, you never
Some actual
know.
Drum heads.
I ordered 3 of those guitars, and I hope I get at least one. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, you need at least one for you.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's a little expensive.
The Rays beat Boston 5-0 game 1.
All right, good.
Nice.
As long as Boston goes down, I don't care who does it.
Well, they're talking about the Rays they're gonna try and sweep it 3-0.
Well, of course, going to try.
Yeah.
Yankees are going to try too.
Go Rays. That's what we need. We need the Rays to win the World Series. That way we got the Lightning, Stanley Cup, Buccaneers with the whatever you call that thing.
The game you can't say the name of.
Yeah, and then I need the Rays to win the World Series.
That'd be a cool
And then
trifecta.
nobody can say anything about Tampa Bay.
That'd be a cool trifecta. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Right.
So we got 2 of 3. We need the third one now.
All right. Well, there's a chance.
Yeah. And the Buccaneers, they snuck out that win last week.
Okay.
That was a tight game, tense, because they should have lost.
Yeah.
And it was just timing. That one
What happened?
that field goal that would have put his old team ahead. The guy went and pegged the post.
Yeah. Boink. Yeah.
Boink.
You know, it was so weird. The stadium got very quiet when he made that kick.
How far of a kick was it?
It was like, I think it was like 43 or 44
53.
yards.
I was just going to
53.
say, like, those ones that are like 50 and 60 yards amazed the hell out of me that you could
Right?
actually do that with
That was
accuracy.
during the
This
pouring
guy-
down rain, though.
Yeah, it was
right?
pouring rain, and the
Pouring
guy's
rain when he
had-
did it.
He's had unbelievable streak of perfection.
Yeah.
But they said he had a problem with the kicking foot or something like that. So they
Yeah.
were a little worried about him. But the thing that was the weirdest is they had one of those parabolic mics aimed at the goalposts. And when that ball hit, it went boom, like a bomb went off. And I'm like, that's a football hitting a post? I never
Yeah.
heard that before.
I wonder
But
how
that
fast the ball was
The
traveling.
parabolic mic just changed the dynamics of the sound.
They always put a mic on that to catch that. That's always the clip. There's always a
Yeah,
mic
yeah.
on there when they do
It
that.
was the loudest boom I ever heard. And I'm like,
It's usually
oh my God.
doink. It's like a
Yeah.
doink
Yeah.
usually.
This was
But that
a
was a little.
boom. It was a
Yeah.
real loud boom. And I saw that happen, and I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna win this game because they're just gonna sit on the ball.
Yeah.
Yep.
The other team kicked the ball to them, and then the offense came out, and everybody was in the huddle. They just went huh huh huh, and they sat on it. Huh huh huh, sat on it. Just ran that clock out. Done.
As long as they could do that.
Yeah.
Right, that noise
But-
on the goalpost. That's kind of the noise your radiator cap made when it flipped off, right?
Right?
You sure did.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the first time I heard that I jumped down on it and I hear this doink and I was like, what the hell's that? Yeah.
That sounded like a football hitting the goalpost with a parabolic mic.
And then the thing that pissed me off, or no, I don't want to say pissed me off. The thing that got me was it was a brand new radiator cap.
You should have drilled a hole in the side and safety wired it to the neck.
Well, that's what I thought about because I had to dig around and look for it, and luckily I was able to find it. And so then I just, I didn't put it on tight. I mean, I'm driving the truck right now, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I really don't want to. I really don't want to put the money in. If I want to put the money in it, I mean, if I was the money that to put in it, I'd rather put it in. I'd rather put it in my 4,000 or shit. I'd get the Scout running for that money.
Sometimes you just get sick and tired and you say, you know what, I'm done. I've had enough.
Yeah. Actually, what I should really do is I guess what really pisses me off about the truck, because like I said, it has no miles on it. It hasn't been abused or anything like that. And for the bed of the truck to rot out the way it rot out, it just irritates me on that. And what I should do is pull the drivetrain out of that and then put that under my Scout.
Oh.
And put the 6.0 in there. When I pull it all apart, go ahead and put heads on it, and then just put it all in the Scout and be the torque monster running around town in the old file cabinet.
I don't know what's going on with the newer vehicle. I rolled up on a newer Ram pickup today, black, beautiful, except right over the rear wheels, just all that rust and cancer right in the wheel. Like, how come they can't build a bed that doesn't rust? There's got to be a double wall and shit's got to be getting stuck in there. Why can't they just do it right?
I know what on the Fords, and the biggest problem is where the outer sheet metal and the inner sheet metal, there's actually a foam piece in between those two, and that's what fills up with. I mean, that collects all the moisture, and that's what they all start to rot. And
I just don't. They can do it, so why don't they do it? Why don't they? I guess that's the answer, because
I guess it's their job security. They don't want people like Papa Squirrel that drive around in a 1987 Volkswagen Rabbit.
Right.
No, they don't.
Yeah, just get it through warranty and it's done.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, it irritates me. I don't know. And like I said, I love the truck, and I'm not really ready to give up on a pickup truck. I still need one. I still need one. I don't know. Maybe I need to find I don't know. It's just very aggravating, I guess.
I made a rolling test bed out of my daughter's
big
RAV4.
GMC like I got.
No, I already got one GMC, and I won't own another one. So
Really?
my tool truck, there's no way, dude. That's a pile of shit too.
Oh no, yeah, I don't know about that. Pickup trucks though,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
So the 4-cylinder on my daughter's RAV4, it uses about a half a quart of oil every 1,000 miles or so. And those engines were known, if she got it, someone leased it and then turned it in, and she bought it used. I watched a video by this guy. He's a Toyota tech, and he said, yeah, with those engines, if they weren't maintained or the oil changes weren't done regularly in the beginning, the rings will stick. And that's, then it's like short block time. So what I did going on that, I said, you know what? I'm going to try and the old thing. So she was over the other night. I had to put some oil in. I said, Marvel Mystery Oil.
Yeah.
I put about
yeah.
I guess about a half a quart. I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to go too crazy. And then we'll see if it can maybe free it up a little. I don't know.
Yeah, they had a recall on that.
They did early
Yeah.
on. Yeah, she couldn't. She wasn't in on that because she didn't have it when it was new.
Oh.
You know.
Oh.
I thought it was funny when I was at the Toyota dealership and the guy walks out, and this was a service writer, and he said, "Hey, that car, do we need a?" They were either ordering pistons or just rings. You know, the pistons came with new rings or just rings themselves. You know, and of
Yeah.
course, in the chaotic world of engineering, the only way that they could tell what they needed was they had to look at the skirt on the piston. So you had to tear the motor apart to see if you're ordering you're putting pistons in or you're putting rings in.
Right.
So the guy goes, "So what do we need to order so I can get the customer out of here?" And the guy goes, "You mean the customer's been waiting?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Dude, he reaches over and pulls out a piston. He goes, I got the car torn apart. This ain't going back together."
That's funny.
So I just thought that was kind of funny. I just kind of chuckled. It was a typical service writer communication with the tech to the customer. Yeah, well, just wait. We'll find out. We'll order part because they were doing by VIN. You know, they would order and then they would come in so that because of parts. You know,
this is about 4 years ago. Joe was telling me when he was doing a show with me, he had a girl that worked with him at Standard Motors, and she had a RAV4, but it was an earlier one. It was like a 98 or 99. And she had a heavy oil use problem, brought it to Toyota. And this was like in the 2000s, like the 2016 maybe. They actually took it and they said, okay, they evaluated it. They said, we'll do an oil change. And then they sealed the engine and sent her on her way and told her to come back at a certain mileage interval. It was maybe like 3,000 miles. They unsealed the engine and measured the oil and then determined that, yes, it did use too much oil and they covered it. The thing was, since it was an older vehicle now, she had to leave it. There was no guarantee. I don't even know if she ever got it back,
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was telling my daughter that, and I said, "Nah, she needs the car." So we're gonna try the old school way. And
we used to do that. People will come in and say, "I'm burning too much oil," so we would do all that and tell them they had to be back at a certain time frame, and certain mileage. And of course, half the people would come back like 6 months too late, later, past the thing,
Yeah.
and they would say, and I would say, "Hey, look, dude, this is what we had to do." And of course, you go through that and you do that like 3 times. And of course they always come out and finally just say, "Look, if you can't follow the rules, we can't, this is it."
I remember
that's how they got out of half that stuff.
BMW was having a problem, and they were like, their spec was like 1.5 quarts in 1,000 miles was acceptable. I'm like, really?
That's a lot of oil.
$80,000 car, that's acceptable?
Yeah.
Jeez, if I
That's
built a
crazy.
motor
That's a
like
lot
that
of-
and that burnt oil, I'd have my head handed to me.
Yeah. That's insane. That's a ton of oil.
Yep. That's the way those.
Who's
You
got
have to
time to
file a
monitor
rings at
that
like
stuff?
40 thou or something to use that kind of oil.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And I always liked the ones that said they were burning oil, and they'd come in, and you'd go through, and you find out that they went, some other shop to do the oil change, and you look, and you finally dig around in their glove box and on a receipt or whatever, and of course, like a 911 took 22 pints,
Right.
which is 11 quarts of oil, and you'd see they only put 6 in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because most people didn't know how much oil would be in it. They would just change the oil. And it was always classic. We had when I was at the dealership, next to us was a Jiffy Lube.
Uh-huh.
So we would always get the guy, he'd come in and say, "How much for oil change?" And of course, this was 20 years ago. So you say, "Oh, it's $1.50. Oh, that's too much money." So they would go over to the Jiffy Lube. And there was 2 drain plugs. There was one for the tank, the sump tank, and then you had like about 3.5 quarts in the bottom of the motor, roughly 3 quarts. So they would drain the motor, change the oil filter, and then they would read in the manual that it's 22 pints. So they would put 11 quarts in.
Overfill.
Well, by the time they got up to the stoplight, of course, being a pancake motor, the oil sitting inside the cylinders, that thing was like spraying for mosquitoes, you know?
Yeah.
So the car would come back around and they would come back into the shop and I'd be standing there and say, oh, well, obviously it's overfilled. And then it's like, well, it's going to be $200 now to fix your problem. Because we got to drain all the oil out, do it all over again. And it was crazy.
Wow.
Bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
that was the biggest problem because there was no dipstick. There was no dipstick. So you had to go by the the oil gauge on the dash to fill them. And that was another big problem. A lot of people would never get enough oil in them.
You must read the bar. How many bar?
How many bars?
Right. But that's the thing, guys that have enough money to buy the cars but know nothing about them, and aren't savvy on taking care of them.
Yep.
Very common.
Very, very common. So I don't know. The good old days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your other drum story there, Ray? You said you were getting back into the drum stuff?
Yeah, like I said, I was looking to mount another rack tom. So I'm looking at these Atlas mounts. There's these mounts, John. I have them on my floor tom. It's like an isolation mount for the legs to literally isolate the drum. So Atlas makes like a claw mount for the bass drum, and you take two of the rim claws off and the spurs, and there's these isolation mounts that take their place for the tension rods, and then also the crossbar threads in on the other side. So it's a dual mount. So it looks pretty cool. I don't know if it's going to do really what I want. I may have to go to a separate floor mount, like a snare mount for the tom, but I don't know if I really want to do that.
Yeah, all my stuff is on what they call rims mounts.
Well, the rail mount is the nice way to go. Yeah, that's
No, I have the isolation mounts from a company called Rims.
Okay, well, I have one of those on my tom now. I have an isolation mount. Yeah.
Yeah, you pull the tuning
Right.
pegs out, and
Right.
you got these like O-rings or it's like a frame.
Yeah.
Goes around halfway around the drum.
Right.
It's rubber, so you can
Right.
actually take the tom and move it around.
Yeah, yeah. And that just goes right into the regular mount. You know what I saw?
Right, I have all my stuff's on a rack.
On one of the rack mount is sweet, but I'm keeping the vintage style. I saw on one of these snares, it looked like a little butterfly mount. It was two big rubber blocks that went onto one of the onto one of the tuning pegs. And what it did is it let because the snare always ends up hitting the tom. They always end up touching each other. So those two rubber blocks would take up that gap. So now there was a rubber, and I got to find out where to get. I haven't seen that anywhere. I saw it in a video, but I haven't seen it anywhere on a site. I'd like to get one of those too.
I'm lucky on mine. The way it's mounted, my snare will never hit the toms.
No, not with a rail mount. Not with a rack.
I
No.
got a good space between them.
Right. See, I like to have the drums.
It's going to
close.
change though, because when I get my drum set back up again, I'm raising the snare up higher.
I like
which is going to put it closer to that tom.
I was just talking to this guy tonight who I'm going to see Saturday, maybe get some cymbals from him. And he was asking me how I have the stuff set up, and I explained to him the angles and the proximity. And I said, I like to have everything close. And I said, even my ride cymbal, I have it nice and low. The cymbal's actually almost touching the tom. I said, because I want to come off the drum and just be able to sweep that cymbal. I just want to come off quick. And he says, oh, you're old school. He goes, that's like old school, 60s, 70s. Like, yeah, well, that's where I learned it. Buddy Rich did it that way. So that's how I had to do it. I said, it's that real low jazz mount type of stuff. I said, yeah, nothing is up high.
I wish I could get my toms to be flatter.
Yeah.
And lower, but they're big toms. They're big rock and roll toms. And I got dual 24-inch bass drums.
Are the toms like 14s, 15s? How big are they?
Yeah, I have all big stuff.
That's big. But you used to have the roto toms, right? You used to use the concert toms.
I pulled this out.
They were concert toms, and then I had heads put on the bottom.
Okay. Oh, it's because
some of them, 4 of them came came heads, top and bottom, right from the factory. It's
Right.
what is it? An 8x10, a 10 by
Right.
12, a 12 by 14.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think
And,
concert. 810s, the smaller ones. I think,
Yeah, and
right?
a 15 by 14. I mean, I got a 15-inch tom, like right where a lot of guys put their ride cymbal.
Right. Yeah.
So my ride cymbal is up here, up above.
Right. You know, now they have those mounts where you can mount the tom off a cymbal mount, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how is that stable? I don't know.
It's not. It moves
Yeah, I don't think
around.
so. I
That's
didn't
why I
think
went
so.
to a rack.
Yeah. See, with a modern
With the
kit,
rack, I can put anything anywhere I want it.
with a modern kit, I would do that. But like I said, this kit is a vintage kit, and I want to kind of keep that vintage feel to it. So I got to find a happy medium.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I have too many drums and too many cymbals. It's just
Yeah.
stupidity.
Yeah, but you could build a smaller kit out of it. You could do whatever
I
you
could
want.
build 2 kits.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I could build
Sure.
2 kits out of what I have because I got 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, all the way around and down. Twin 24s. I've got a 5.5 by 14 maple snare.
Yeah.
And then I have a 6 by 14 superphonic.
Right. What size is the bass drum? Your audio just dropped out.
Hey, Ray, I do have a question to
16 by
ask you
24.
before we go.
What do you got?
Did you get your clock?
No.
Okay.
Beat the clock.
Beat the clock, right?
That was a weird song.
Beat the clock?
Beat the clock. You ever hear? Look it up. Beat the clock. You got
No.
to beat the clock. That was a disco song.
Oh, I don't know that one. Yeah.
It's all electronic. Beat the clock. You got to beat the
Probably why I
clock.
don't know it.
Used to play that in my disco days when I was a DJ. Look it up. Go when you get off. Go on YouTube. Put beat
Turn
the
the
clock.
beat around.
Turn the beat around. That's another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's I think they were an English band. A lot of synthesizer.
Real techno, yeah, techno pop.
Yeah, very techno poppy, 80s disco song called Beat the Clock.
The only band that I could actually listen to that I like from that era that's in the techno range was Yaz.
Yeah.
The rest of them, that the techno stuff, just it short circuits my brain for some reason. I don't know what it is. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that Beat the Clock song came out around the same time as Tainted Love and
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
all of that
Swap
oddball kind of
Tainted Love is a good song. That's a good, yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah.
all that stuff. I used to play that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Those were good times. Those were good days.
You know, and it comes up on the radio a lot these days, but the Cars, their second album, yeah, remember song Moving in Stereo?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
great,
yeah.
that's a headphone song, man. That is a phenomenal song. You know?
Yep.
Oh, that was good stuff. Yeah, very good stuff.
Check your blood sugar. Just check the blood sugar
Oh man.
before I eat.
So what's up for the weekend, guys? Anything good?
Okay.
Like now.
Working on the car on Saturday, going on a boat on Sunday.
Boating it, right?
Sounds like fun.
Sunday.
What about you, Justin? What do you got? What do you got happening? Anything?
This is actually a big weekend for us. We got a car show at our shop, so we're gonna
Cool.
get ready for that.
You got to post photos, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are you still on
Post
the air?
that stuff up.
Huh?
Are you still on the air?
Post it up.
Can you do that? Give me it.
I
wanna see
pull
the
into. I was at my
projects that you're
friend's.
working on.
I was at my friend's bike shop last weekend, and as I pull in, I hear this car. I'm like, "Whoa!" Guy's driving a '55 Nomad. This car was hot, full roll cage. It was like a Pro Street wagon. You know, it was just.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the ragged edge of being streetable, and this big dude climbs out of the car, and I said, you know, it was like copper and black. I took a few pictures of it. Beautiful car. I said, I got one of those in my driveway, but it don't look like that. He goes, you want another one? I was like, what is it when you guys building these cars like this that are on the ragged edge of drivability? I said, then you complain about them. He's like, I know, because, you got to always do what you had back in the day. He says, and that's always too much. And he goes, yeah, but then you don't want to detune it. I'm like, yeah, I know.
That's why I'm not doing what I did.
That's
it's
smart.
going to look like it.
Very smart.
It's all about the look.
The
The other one's a different story.
This thing was tubbed. I didn't get to see under the hood, but I'm sure it was a big block.
Yeah, just finished up a project at our shop, actually. Same kind of deal. 68 Pro Street Camaro that guy had since 69. And he wanted to have that look, but just a regular old small block.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah. That was something I was thinking about. If I had gotten this car and it didn't have a motor in it, I was going to go back to my days when I had a 355 Chevy in it.
Yeah, the old 355, sure.
Yeah. I had a really nice. I bought it from that guy Eddie Haas.
Yeah.
Mouse Factory.
Yeah.
I bought the motor from him.
Okay.
Yeah. After I got tired of blowing up Pontiac 400s.
In fact,
I went to Eddie and I'm like, man, I need a motor. And he's like, I got for you, brother. No problem. I got a beautiful 355 with double bump heads.
Yeah, double hump head, right. Those were 202 valves.
202 heads, and it had it was a solid lifter cam.
Right.
I don't know how big it was, but it was stout for a small block. It was amazing. I used to rev that thing to 8,500.
Wow, yeah.
And I used to drop the clutch at like 7,000.
Yeah.
That motor never gave me a second's worth of problems driving it on the street and racing it at the track. And then when I wanted to go pro street, I said, I got to go big block for this. I sold it
years
to
ago.
I forget who bought it, but that motor was phenomenal.
A few years ago, we're at Willie Hassick's wake, and all racers in the place, just filled with drag racers.
Yeah,
and my buddy was looking for a small block at the time for his El Camino, and my buddy Christian from the other bike shop says, wait a minute. He goes, I got a motor. He pulls up a picture. He goes, it was a 383. I'm like, I know that shop. He goes, yeah, it's Eddie Haas. It's at Eddie Haas's shop. I'm like, yeah, I thought so. He goes, he was selling the motor for like, what did he want for it? I think, I don't know, about $3,000. Done motor.
Right.
I'm like, all right, I'll pass it on.
Piston race engines.
Yeah, he's still around.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that guy.
Yeah.
Ed was a good guy.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of good people.
I know. We're all getting old and dying.
Yeah.
What are they going to say about me when I go? Probably
Depends.
Good riddance.
Depends who you ask. That's always the way it is. Depends who you ask. Depends who's talking. Nah, you got a great following. Come on, you still got people following you from back in the day that,
I know. I reconnected with one of the guys that worked with me at the chassis shop, Carl Smith.
Oh, good.
I hadn't spoken to Carl since 2000.
How'd that come about?
Somebody, a common friend of ours, Bobby, is friends with Carl's wife. Carl's not on Facebook, but his wife is.
Sounds like me.
Bobby turned her on and said, check out this picture of Carl at the chassis shop when we were building a car for Ronnie Siders. So then she sent me a friend request, and it turns out she loves what I post. It's another one. And then
everybody's wife loves John's post.
She says, give me your phone number. I'll have Carl give you a buzz. So Carl called me up. He was so excited to talk to me after all these years. He's in North Carolina, and he works for a fabricating car place. They do the majority of what they do is pro touring stuff.
Yeah.
He says their clientele is older men that want, a 68 Camaro with fat tires all around it, sitting low with an LS, and they want stock interior, but custom at the same time with decoded
Right.
digital gauges.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of, that's what
It's
they're
the
looking
blueprint. That's
for.
I call
Yeah.
that the
They're
blueprint.
not
yeah.
drag race guys. They're not
Right.
road race guys, but they want the old body style with the new stuff.
Right. Right.
And that's what he's doing. You know, and he says he has a good time. He's having a blast.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's so cool. And then he was amazed. I can't believe you're building the first Firebird, the first Pro Street car on Long Island, that you're recreating this car, you know, and he was totally mystified that I got the black car back.
Oh, wow.
He was like, I can't believe you got that car back. He goes, that car's so historic. I says, yeah, it's collecting dust in my other shop right now.
Well, that's all right. Next up.
He's like, that is so cool that you're back into that, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a good time. My wife's like, you need to move faster on this deal. You got to get this shit done, dude.
I tell you, she's a good boss.
She's unreal. But then she complains.
Of course.
Last week I worked on the Saturday. She didn't have anything going on. She didn't feel real good. I worked out here. Sunday, she didn't say, let's go on a boat. She was doing stuff for work. So I came out here and put 5-6 hours in. And then at dinner, she was complaining.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to spend 2 days on the weekend while you're in the garage banging around on that car. And in between, you're on Instagram or you're on the phone. She says, you don't work like you used to work. She goes, you've lost that work ethic that you used to have
man.
for building cars.
You're not 24 anymore either.
I
Come
know,
on.
I know.
You know?
Well, I look at this thing and I say to myself, the amount of work that I've done would have been 3 weeks worth of work back in the day.
Well, yeah, that's
And
then.
it's going on 8-9 months now.
Right.
You know, but
Yeah,
granted, the car spent the first 4.5-5 months at the body shop. So
Well, I mean, you're 3 times the age too, so you know.
yes, absolutely.
There's, hey, you got my vote, man. Nothing wrong with that. No, but yeah, I'm sure you have your moments. Like I did when I was building my car. I'd come in, and she's like, "Man, you're dirty from head to toe." And I was, in the beginning stages. She goes, "And you look beat." I'm like, "Yeah, I am beat." She goes, "But you're smiling." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm smiling because I'm making progress. It's like things are happening. It's dirty work," I said, "but it's it's like giving me new energy to keep going forward." It's like,
Yeah.
in those days where you'd go 2 steps forward but 3 steps back and be like, okay, close the door. And I'd come in and say, these are the days that guys would close that door and they wouldn't go back out there for 6 months. And then when they go out there, they're dejected that they left on a low note. And that's how cars never get finished. That's how they get sold off. I said, I'm different because I'm going out tomorrow and I'm making up the difference that I lost today. And I'm going to go forward, or I'm going to at least be at an even point. I said, I'm not going to give up. And I didn't. It's
I'm about my plan. I think tomorrow is I'm going to pull the engine back out of this thing, put it back in the cradle. That transmission cross member I'm trying to get, it's back ordered. It's going to be a little while.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm going to yank the engine, drop the subframe out of this thing, and probably just bring it to the other shop so it's out of my way, and get the rotisserie down here and try and get this thing on the rotisserie.
Okay.
Because I have to rebuild the rocker panels on this car. They're destroyed, which made things really difficult for me to do what I had to do.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, I talked to my body guy and I'm like, I may be able to do some stuff with a slide hammer and pull out some of the dents and dings and get the 2 pieces, the inner and the outer, where that pinch weld is.
Yeah.
Hammer and dolly and get that straight again. Re-weld. But I'm kind of leaning towards maybe going back to NPD in a week or so and buying 2 brand new outer rockers and then just cut these outers off, step them, put the new rocker in, re-weld the pinch welds, and that way I wind up with 2 brand new rocker panels. Because whoever owned this car used to jack it up by the rocker panel.
Brian, do you sell these attachments? I have one outside. It's a round disc, but it's got two raised parallel.
I've gotten them before.
Walls, and what it's made for is it goes right over the pinch weld, and then you just run the jack up under it, so it just cuffs the pinch weld. Before that, I had a 4x4, and I actually cut a trough in the 4x4 to do the same exact thing.
Right.
But this is nice. It's got a magnet in it. It'll stick. You put it up on the pinch weld first, and you just bring the jack up under it. And
Yeah, the one that I've gotten was just a. It wasn't a magnet one. But it had the cup hole to fit in your floor jack. You know what I'm saying? So you just
the ones I've seen.
it went into the floor jack, and then you just spun it to line it up, and then you jacked it up.
See, I got the other guy's jack, so my pad is just a big, like a 4-inch square pad. It doesn't have that cup hole in it. So
it doesn't have the round hole in it at all
no,
to go in.
no,
Really?
it's like a 4-inch square pad with just 4 raised nubs on the end.
Oh,
But that doesn't come out of the jack.
should come out.
I tried taking it out, and it didn't. I didn't never try.
Maybe it's got a pin or something on the bottom.
Some of
That's
them
what I
have a
was talking
set
about.
screw.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you just
never
pop
looked-
it out and you drop another one in.
Yeah, I didn't look that close. I had nothing else to put in there, so it didn't matter. So
Yeah, I've gotten the, and they have they also have a newer one out. It's actually like the ABS plastic,
oh yeah. Okay.
and it's I think it's about 7.5 inches long,
Oh,
and it disperses the weight out a lot better on
That's
that
nice.
and so forth.
yeah,
They also
I'm gonna start using that slot.
yeah, for the bumper jack.
yeah.
If I put that bumper jack on this thing, the whole back
Oh.
of the car would cave in.
Right.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
so
People look at that; they have no idea what that's for.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then the earlier ones, I had that hook that went under the
Yeah, the
bottom.
hook.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chevys use the hook. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Think about it though. How many times have you used those jacks? You knew they were wonky from the start.
Oh yeah, because they'd always start to.
I've seen, they would lean
They'd
one
always
way or
lean.
the other.
Yeah.
You would. I say to myself, what was GM thinking back then?
I had a jack that I think I got out of a junk car, and it was an aftermarket jack. I don't know who made it, but it was 3 legs. It was a tripod. You'd fold it out, and then it had a hook under the bottom, but it had a crank up on top with like a wooden handle, and you'd turn it like this, like you were churning butter, and it would raise the hook and just. But it already had a tripod set of legs, so it would
It was a screw
stabilize
jack.
itself. And that went the way that went in. I guess I got rid of that so many years ago. That's something I should have kept.
But that's no different. Look at GM putting those plastic jacks in those cars now. You know what I'm
Heard about
saying?
that. I haven't seen them. I've heard about it.
Oh
yeah.
my God, it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
Then you got the Ford with the scissor jacks.
yeah.
So they had the scissor jacks with the plate, and then some of them had the scissor jack that was set up for the pinch weld.
Right.
Yeah, that's the way the Volkswagen or
Yeah, all the
German
Ford
ones
cars
were.
like that. Yeah, but even some of the Japanese cars have that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I know
Picking
I
that
have
car
one.
up like that.
Well, but it made sense.
And I
'cause
got
the-
in my truck. I've got it's a mechanical jack, but it looks like a hydraulic jack.
oh,
You've got this big long handle
Yeah.
that unfolds, and it looks like a hydraulic jack, but you turn it, and it's a gear driven.
yeah, it's got to have a ring and pinion in it, right?
Yeah, it's a ring and pinion one. It's
That's
weird,
cool.
but it lifts up that big heavy truck.
I haven't, that's a good question. I haven't really lifted the FJ or anything but a lift or my floor jack. So I don't know. I think I have like a bottle jack that they gave you. I should check that out in case I ever get stuck. But I never.
That's why you carry a AAA card. Don't worry
No, I
about
got
it.
Haggerty. Haggerty covers all my cars, even the regular cars.
The one time I had to have the F-350 towed home. The starter had actually cracked. It,
Wow.
it cracked and Don't ask me why, but you know, it had cracked, and so I was like, and the funny part was it did that in front of a Napa, you know. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll just change the starter, you know. So I go in and say, hey, I need a starter for this, you know, F350. We don't have one.
Wow.
And I was like, really? I was like, Jesus Christ. Okay. So I'm sitting there and I was like, all right, fine. Let's have it towed home, you know? So I called up AAA. They sent they asked me what it was. I said, it's a crew cab F350. It is heavy duty. I mean, it's rated 13.8. It's, you know, it's got some weight. Yeah. So they sent out this flatbed. It didn't fit on the flatbed.
Wow.
It hung over.
Oh, geez.
And the guy was like, how far we got to go? And I said, we got to go 0.8 miles down the road. He goes, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, whatever. So he gets the truck up on the flatbed, and it's like that much of the front tires are on the edge of the bed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he tried to put it on forward, but the rear wheels never touched the bed, you know?
Yeah.
So he gets it on there, gets it in there. So I tell him to drop the truck, and I called the girls, and I said, you want to see something really neat here? I said, watch the front of this tow truck here when he goes to unload the pickup truck. That son of a bitch was about 6 feet straight up in the air. That thing was pointing out, and that guy was like, holy shit. And I was like, dude, this was...
Wow.
So it was kind of crazy. He goes, man, how heavy is this thing? Or, you know, and I said, I told you guys it's, you know, I made that mistake. That's why they gave me that truck. You know, when I went to go buy, I told them I wanted just a basic stripped down pickup truck. I didn't want any of the leather. I didn't need the moon roof. I didn't need any of that stuff. And of course, every F250 was loaded to the gill, you know. And when I had road tested a F250, and I parked right next to the truck that I bought. And I said, what about this truck right here? He goes, oh, you don't want that truck. I said, what do you mean I don't want this truck? He goes, there's nothing on it. And I said, what was the first words I said when I came in here? I don't want anything. I said, I just need a pickup truck. So he's like, if you're really interested, we'd give you a killer deal on that truck. I said, fine. Well, I never looked at the gross vehicle weight. So I got to pay yearly on tags on that thing because it's over 10,000.
Oh, God.
And like I said, it's 13.8. And I said, now I know why it was probably ordered for, you know, the county or a state truck, you know, because it's basic white, nothing fancy, cloth interior. It's what I wanted, but unfortunately I didn't really need all that weight. So, or the gross vehicle weight of the thing. So that was kind of funny.
I just saw a good article came by on Motors. I get Motors magazines, their emails, their tech briefs. And they were talking about starters, and they said, you know, a customer came in and they were basically talking about the difference in the permanent magnet versus the regular removable magnet starters. And what happened is they said, you know, this guy used the old school trick of banging the starter with a hammer to try and get it to work. And they showed, like, on the label, all these hammer marks. The guy said, of course, he never hit it with anything. And what it did is it cracked the permanent magnet inside. Yeah. So it would work. So they said, you know, it was a good article. They explained that, you know, actually the brush holder and the commutator is at the back end of the starter. So they said, you know, a lot of times the brushes will hang. If you want to hit it back there, because that's probably, if you're going to free anything up, that's where it's going to be. But and they said the other thing, like, you know, I mean, I knew this from rebuilding them. If you have the removable magnets, the oval ones, there's big screws in the outer housing of the starter. And those screws hold the pole shoes in that hold the magnets in. And they said, if you see the screws, that's kind of the safer one to hit. If you don't see screws, that means it's permanent magnets that glued in, and don't hit it with a hammer. So I was just surprised that that Motor actually did an article like that. I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty-
no, it was really crazy. I don't know. I think I went to start the truck up, and it made a funny noise, starting up, and I was like, "What the hell was that?" And of course, dumbass me, I should know better. So when it started up, it was running. I got out and looked, and half the starter was hanging down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it had just, like the whole starter cracked in half.
Wow.
What the nose? Did the nose crack?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's part of the starter still in the flywheel, where that goes through, and then you had the body of it that was hanging by the battery cable. So of course I was like, okay, fine.
Right.
So I drove over to the Napa, and I wasn't even thinking. I turned the damn thing off.
Yeah, you shut it off, right?
And of course I walked in and I was like, you dumbass. Again, luck of the Irish. I mean, I'm on my own, I don't need any help self-inflicting anything. I do it
Right.
quite well myself.
Most of
So I
us
went in
don't.
and I said, okay, fine. I'll just change the starter in the parking lot. I mean, I can get underneath, and it's 4-wheel drive, I can get underneath of it, I mean, so,
But then you got to get the tool truck to get the tools to work on the starter.
yeah, well, I figured, I know the guys at the they know who I am. I figured they at least,
I
I
borrow
guess,
a
or fuck, I'll buy it, whatever. But
Yeah.
I go in, do you have a starter? No, we don't have a starter. How can you not have a starter? The most common, 6.0 Ford truck, you don't have a starter? I said, all right. And of course, I'm like, great, what do I do now? And then I said, I'll just call AAA. So
That's it. AAA. Wait.
AAA. But that was
Wait.
funny.
And where'd you eventually get the starter from?
I don't know. I think what I ended up doing was I ran down to
O'Reilly.
AutoZone. It was either AutoZone or Advance Auto. And the funny part was I got a starter for it and put it in, started the truck up a couple times, and the housing for the solenoid melted.
Mm-hmm.
After about the 5th or 6th time starting, the little wire for the ignition popped off. It when it melted and came off. So I had to take the original starter and take the solenoid off that and put it onto the other one. And knock on wood, it's still that way.
Not
had to
bad
use-
enough that the first one self-destructed. The second one you paid good money for was a piece of shit. So you had
Yeah.
to use pieces off the grenaded one to make the piece of shit one work. And now,
Yeah.
but hey,
Yeah.
as long as it works, right?
Yeah, but it was kind of,
See,
like
only
I said,
guys that work on cars could be happy with that scenario. Like, great, I'm back on the road. I'm happy. Where anybody else, like any civilian, would be like, I'm gonna sue that fucking company. These guys are off that fucking rockers. This is unacceptable.
well, that's like with my the rear brake caliper that I put on it.
Yeah.
I put a rear brake caliper. It was leaking, and put one on, and for like 3 days I was losing the brake pedal. About 2 days down the road, I'd lose the brake pedal. Couldn't figure, and there'd always be a little bit of brake fluid on the ground. Just a little drip.
And you
And I'd
ignored it.
clean it up, and I'd
Yeah.
crank down on it, and this,
That
and then
can't
I'd
be a
take it
problem.
apart, and I even changed the hose and changed the new washer. Everything. This went on for like 2 weeks, and it was the actual bleeder screw, not seated.
Wow.
The bleeder screw, how it's cone at the very bottom when you take it all the way out?
Yep.
That wasn't perfectly machined or done.
Right, so it couldn't seal.
And that
So it
was,
wouldn't seal.
and that was on that was a replacement caliper.
that was a replacement caliber. I was so mad. I mean, I just took that thing and chucked it across the yard.
I had
Yeah.
a couple of replacements I did. They were Dormans, and they have two different lines of calipers, I found out. And like on one car, they got me just ordered a pair of calipers. So one was the one line and the other was the better line. I don't remember what the designation was. And the good one worked fine. The other one was leaking from the bleeder, the same thing.
Yeah.
And I thought I saw some I used my magnifying glass. I thought I saw with the little hole. You know, I'm looking through the little thing. I thought I saw some little microscopic little cracks in there. And I'm like, I just couldn't get the bleeder to, you're tightening it.
Yeah.
How far are you going to go?
And the thing that I thought that I was going to have to, in the old brake caliper, the only problem was the puck, is plastic and it had cracked.
Oh, yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, originally I was just going to order, I couldn't find any pucks because I was just going to rebuild it,
Yeah.
So then I thought that I'd be out there in the middle of the night, in the darkness of the night, rebuilding, taking the pucks out of the new caliber, putting it into the old one again to put the old one back on the truck, but I tell you, I was so mad at that.
Well,
and the thing that pissed me off was I never throw anything away, as you could tell.
I know.
And
hey,
I had taken the original brake caliber and I figured, I'm going to turn the leaf and I don't need this. And I chucked it. And of course I needed the drain plug, the bleeder, that's because that was messed up in the other,
I'll tell you a story. I was just thinking, I'm cleaning stuff up. Gotta, because I'm thinking maybe moving out of here in a year or so. And I got a lot of shit. So I'm thinking, in the garage, I know I got up in right above the toolbox, I got some dry, mirrors that I took off the cars that you hit the fence or whatever. And they weren't totally smashed, and I saved the old ones. I said, this way, if I ever need a part, I can fix. And I've never had to do that. So I climb up there today and I found one for the Protege. I'm like, I can throw this out. My Impala has a bad mirror on it on the driver's side where the glass just wobbles back and forth. It doesn't stay straight. I was driving it last weekend, so it was annoying me. I said, I got an Impala mirror up there. So I pull it down, I look at it, I pop the glass off, and there's two adjusting studs and then a cross that actually works off the power. So I was like, okay, one of the studs busted. So I was able to change that. And then I said, perfect, I'll put this on the car and I'm good to go. I took the assembly off, took the busted stud out. I go to put it all back together. I was so happy because I had the parts now to make this work. I go to put it back and I had to put the motor piece, I had to screw it back into the shell, 3 screws. 2 of them went in and one of them the screw kept turning. I'm like, well, I know it's lined up because 2 of them are in and tight. So the third one has to go in. Yeah, until I took it off again and saw that the little plastic stanchion had snapped and it was on the screw turning. So now I had to take that off, JB welded, and it's sitting out there now with the motor hanging out of it. And I'll wait till tomorrow and give it a good day to set up. But I said, if I would have thrown that mirror out before, I wouldn't have had that piece. I wouldn't have been able to take this. I wouldn't have had those studs.
Sure.
So, yes. And I'll throw the rest of it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. As soon as you throw it out, you're going to need it. I tell my wife that. I tell her that all the time. And I show her, I'm like, look, I had to spend $200 because I threw whatever it was out. And she's like, yeah, so? I'm like, don't you get it? I'm like, that's why I saved this shit. She's like, yeah, but then you wouldn't know where it was because you wouldn't be able to find it. I'm like, well, probably.
Yeah.
That's
That happened with my 4000, my Quattro. I had there was one sitting at work, same color, but it wasn't an all-wheel drive. It was just a 4-cylinder, 2-wheel drive 4000. Sat there, and my service manager or the boss, the service manager, thought that was me. That was my car because it was parked on the lot. And one day I came to work late, so and of course his office was looking out into the park, So I drove by and I kind of waved to him, and he gave me this weird look, and I was like, "Oh man, I want to hear all kinds of crap, you know? So I park the car, come in, change, get ready. And he comes down and Greg was his name. Greg goes, "That's not your car?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Man, I thought that was your car because you're always here. You're here before me and you leave after me, and that car is always there. I thought that was your car." And I was like, no, that was that customer and it needed a distributor or something, and he didn't want to spend the money. He goes, "Well, how long is that? That car's been sitting here for like over a year." And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, do you want it?" And I said, "Well, if I'm not paying anything for it, yeah.
And if I can leave it right where it is."
Yeah, well, he goes, "I'll have it towed to your house."
No.
And now this was identical. I mean, same color,
Yeah.
same year, everything. So he tows it to the house. Of course, it's there, and my wife gets home. She's walking around wondering where I'm at, you know, and I come pulling in. She goes, "What's that?" And I said, "Oh, you know, it's a car. I picked it up. I didn't pay anything. I'm going to strip it because it's the same color. I'm going to pull the sheet metal off of it. And if I ever hit a deer or have a problem, I got this car, you know." Pulled all the switches out, had the car towed off, pulled the whole front end off, right? Put it in the shed. I got so sick and tired of moving the hood and the fenders every time I had to do something in the shed. So it must have been like 2 or 3 years that this sat in my shed.
That's nothing.
Yeah, well, a buddy of mine called. He had the same 4000, and his wife took out a deer and needed a whole front end, you know. And he asked me if I had any parts. I said, "Gus, come by. You can pick this up. It's all yours, dude. You can have it all." He's like, "How much you want?" And I said, No. You can take it all. I had the grill, headlight, everything. I said, "Just take it all. Get it out. I'm tired of moving it around."
Yeah.
Literally, the next day, the wife backs into my car. She goes, "You never park behind me." I said, "I know."
And now you know why.
I said. So took out the fender, the door, and of course I couldn't find the parts. I couldn't find the same color.
Right.
It was.
I think the funnier part is
That sucks.
all the people who looked at that other car and never realized there were like no license plates on it.
Oh, it had license plate on it. It had dead tags on it.
Oh yeah, okay.
The guy just abandoned it. I mean, he just left it there at the dealership, and they all, you know, like I said, they just figured it was somebody's car or whatever, and just sat there. And
So when they scrapped it, they didn't ask for like the title and all of that stuff?
I mean, it was so simple. Well, back then it was real simple. At the dealership, we issued tags and titles. So all they did went back there and did a mechanic's lien on it. At that time, it was something like $50, and they did a title. They did a title, a title, and you could get tags or whatever if you need it. But they just cleared the title and had it, towed, and that was it. Because I had a guy, my Scout was that way. The guy sold me a Scout. And he said, "Oh, I don't have the title right now. I'll bring you the title." Well, I bought the truck. A couple weeks go by, not even that long. A couple days go by, and I said, "Hey, man, where's that title?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll bring it to you. Well, a buddy of mine that was friends of his, basically, he said that he was going to come back. He just needed the money for a time, and he was going to come back and either somehow, because I didn't have the title, he knew that I couldn't get tags for it. So once I found out about that, I went back, saw the girls in the back, and told them the situation. They said, "No problem." 45 minutes later, I had a title and tags.
Nice. There you go.
And that guy was hot because he was like, "Man, you can't do that," And I was like, "Well, I did it."
See, the other thing that's kind of funny is that the service writer saw that car sitting outside his window every day for a year, and also didn't notice that it was getting dirtier or there were leaves on it, there was snow on it. It was like it had to be getting uglier by the day, and he didn't think that
It had to get I think it had a flat tire, but he just
flat tires.
again, that's just he just looked out. He said, "Brian's here." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Brian's driving on a flat tire. That's amazing. He wouldn't even say anything. Like, Brian, when are you gonna clean your windshield? I can't even see through it. Like amazing.
I'm gonna hit the road, boys.
Yeah.
I got to get
Justin,
ready
it was
for.
a pleasure having you here.
Yeah,
It
man.
was
You
a
gotta
pleasure
come
being
back
here,
all
man.
the time.
Come back again whenever you want, and
Would
feel
love
free
to.
to talk to
Get
us.
on.